Neil?
Absolutely.
Yes, Hank.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
90 high-rises going up in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
In the next 3 years.
Well, I'll be damned.
Who's
Thank
going to
God
live
they
in
don't
all
have
those?
hurricanes in Vegas, or they'd be maybe going down.
Yeah. Boy, how terrible. Yeah, you've been to New Orleans. And
Once.
to imagine that that city.
See, there you go with that sports mentality.
Yeah, right.
You got to get deprogrammed.
Can you imagine being there you're out
No,
without
I can't
power
imagine
for
being
6
there without
weeks?
the storm.
Yeah, but this is really a horrible thing.
Yeah, it sure is. Better them than us, though.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking when you guys had the first hit from Katrina. Better them than me.
What do you mean, you guys?
You guys.
Not
Well, that's
me.
right, you weren't there either.
No.
Well, we're smart. We stayed the hell out of there. Just one more good reason to stay as far away from there as possible. We're going to get like the ass end of it tomorrow night, and then Wednesday, some little bit of rain. Not much.
We had the beginning of
northeast. The forecasters down there, all of you people ought to be in jail, okay? You're so full of crap. I can't believe it, because I'm on the air last Thursday, and I'm reading the advisories, and then I'm getting led down the garden path by what they're saying on CNN and the local channels and everybody else, and they're full of crap. You know, why can't they just say we don't know?
Yeah.
We don't know. It could go anywhere from like Vero to the Keys, and everybody, do whatever you have to do. But when you're dealing with a hurricane, and of course the politicians are like the boys who cried wolf, because they've all, in the past, they've screamed and hollered and tried to whip everybody up into a frenzy so many times for nothing, when it was obvious the storm was already, past Dade and Broward, that they have no credibility. Nobody pays any attention to them. So everybody got caught with their pants down.
The craziest people in television are those hurricane reporters.
Yeah.
Those guys are nuts.
Not to mention anybody specific, but nevertheless. Although I know one who wasn't there to cover it. You fair. But nevertheless.
No, I'm talking about the guys on the Weather Channel and.
Right.
What's that guy's
how
name?
How about all these guys? The same thing this weekend. In fact, one of the local channels here this morning, they were showing a compendium of clips of all these different weather jerks getting blown away in a storm.
Exactly. I saw the same thing. It was on one of the networks.
Give me a break. What the hell is that stupidity? Instead of having them inside and dry where they can give you an intelligent report, they're like, oh, I'm hanging on for dear life.
Yeah.
It's
the story becomes about them.
Yeah, of course. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid news for stupid people. That's why it's America.
I'll tell you
So I made my list of racetracks, which I'm sure you forgot about.
I did not.
Didn't you?
No. In fact,
how many you got?
Well, not as many as you.
Well, no. How many you got?
Oh, no, I have one that neither one of us have been to.
Yeah.
Yes. Leslie Visser, who listens to you.
Really?
Yes. And
Good morning, Leslie.
Leslie called me after our conversation about that, and she said, I've got a track that neither one of you have been to that I've been to.
Yeah.
And she
What's
named
that,
it...
Ruidoso Downs in Mexico?
No. I've been there.
Have you?
Yes.
Isn't that quarter horses?
Yeah.
If you bet $2, that's what you get back, quarter.
But anyway, she mentioned a track that I don't think you've been to either. I know I haven't been.
Yeah.
Evangeline Downs.
I've heard of it. That in Indiana?
No, Louisiana.
Oh, close.
But.
Oh, is it still there?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question.
Oh, and speaking of that, Biloxi, my friends at Pompano Park, they own the casinos in Biloxi.
Wow. And
they said that one of the casinos had water all the way up to the second floor, so you can imagine what a mess that is.
Yeah. I don't know. Those are boats. I don't know, but...
No. In Biloxi?
Yes.
No, they're not.
Yeah. I haven't been there, but I asked somebody about
regular casinos there. We're not
I saw one. It's a riverboat that's attached to a hotel, just like they have in...
well, I'll be damned. Well, they could have just floated right out to sea.
But apparently...
aren't you going to tell me how many tracks are on your list, or are you just avoiding me?
This counts Europe, right?
Anywhere.
I've been to about 18.
34.
Yeah, I knew you were going to beat me. I heard you the day last Thursday, 3 weeks ago.
You want my list real quick?
34? Do we have time?
Yeah, you know me, motor mouth. I can spit them out real fast.
Go ahead.
Woodbine, Garden City and St. Catharines, no longer there. Garden State, New Jersey, no longer there. Fort Erie, Finger Lakes, Vernon Downs, Roosevelt, Yonkers, Meadowlands, Liberty Bell, the Meadows, Batavia Downs, Sportsman's Park, Washington Park, Pompano Park, Buffalo Raceway, Gulfstream, Hialeah, Golden Bear in Sacramento, which now they call it something else, Hollywood Park, Hazel Park, Calder, Wolverine, Northville, Jackson, Raceway Park in Toledo, Northfield, Suffolk Downs. Ever Suffolk Downs in Boston?
Yeah, I've been there.
Rockingham Park, Axar Bend in Omaha, Seminole Downs in Orlando, where they had flies as big as watermelons, Windsor, Narragansett Park, and Lincoln Downs.
I've been to Narragansett. So, wasn't there a second track in Boston besides Suffolk?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
it's the only one I ever went to.
There's one there that closed down years ago.
They used to have harness racing at Suffolk Downs. That's when I've been there for thoroughbreds too, but boy, they had pretty good harness racing. It was a mile track.
Yeah.
Eddie Cobb, Alex Winger. Now, what, you got your list?
I didn't bring my list. It was 18, though.
Oh.
But I've been...
So I guess most of these tracks, harness tracks. What happened to Tyler Bays, by the way, got injured yesterday? He couldn't win a fixed race lately. What's the story with him?
He won the stakes on Sunday.
Well, that's the first race he's won in weeks.
Yeah, he's had
a
8,
horrible meet.
He had 8 wins for the meet out there.
Yeah. Got injured in the first race yesterday and taken off his mounts. I don't know what happened.
I gave out a nice $25 horse on the show from there.
Didn't call me to tell me about it.
All you had to do was turn on the television. There I was.
From where?
From
Del Mar?
From Del Mar, the Pacific Classic.
That's near San Diego, right?
It's in San Diego, yes.
Well, there you go. Never been there.
Well, that's a beautiful place.
Well, I'll have to get out there.
Yep. You would like that place.
Mm-hmm. Probably more than I like Woodbine.
Well, Woodbine is... I don't know. I've been to Woodbine. They had the Breeders' Cup there
pretty
years
nice.
ago. It's all right.
It's a nice place.
I'll tell you the place
they'll
that I was at.
Money you got, they'll take it.
I'll tell you the place I was at that's magnificent is Arlington.
Oh, you know something? No, I haven't been to Arlington. I take it back. Have not been there.
It is great. And you know what?
You're talking about the new Arlington.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were to the old one, too.
I was.
Well, that counts for 2. It's 2 different tracks.
But the new Arlington, people go out there. I mean, they get young people there. They do a lot of stuff to promote. And they
seem to have this problem in Chicago with tracks burning down. Washington Park was the old harness track, and then that thing
well, there were a lot of stories about how Arlington happened to burn down.
Right. Well, Chicago is interesting. A lot of guys with their nose out of joint there. That's what Sam Giancana said.
Yeah.
He got his nose out of joint when he found out that JFK was sleeping with his ex-girlfriend.
But there's something to be said for that, I think. That when the boys are running the city, it runs properly.
That is true. I like that. And that's what Gay Edgar Hoover said, too. He liked going to the track to Laurel when they used to fix the races.
Hey, Chicago is a great city.
Did you ever read it? It is. Did you ever read about that? About how when he used to go to the track, J. Edgar Hoover, this is a true story, that they would guarantee his bet. In other words, they would give him the horse. And they were fixing the race for him, but if it didn't work out, which, anything can happen.
I like that.
He would get his money back. Yeah, why can't we get a deal like that? In other words, when I go into Woodbine, he picks up a machine real loose for me, and if it doesn't pay out, and when I leave every day, say, oh, here you go, Mr. Rogers, here's a check for $3,000 or $2,000 or whatever.
Yeah, but Neil, then it wouldn't be gambling.
Who cares? I'll take it. It's kind of like working at QAM. That's a gamble every time.
Yes.
So 34-18, I got you beat. Well, that's good. I'm proud of myself.
Very good. A lot of those are harness tracks, though, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, like Northfield. Well,
I've been to Northfield.
That story was incredible.
Yep.
Talk about a degenerate.
That's what Edwin Pope said. I was on the bus with him, riding out to the game the next day, and he said, that snowstorm was horrible last night. What did you do? I said, I went to Northfield for the Trotters. He said, you are. He said, I thought Clure Mosier was the sickest guy I know, but you just beat him.
I got a better one, though. I once drove from Detroit with a couple of friends to Cleveland for a race. We got a tip from a jockey. This guy's girlfriend was friends with a jockey at DRC. We drove to Northfield Park in Cleveland to bet on a horse called Mr. Z. He came in 5th.
Named after Joe Zagacki.
Yeah. And also, Joe Zagacki.
Joe Zagacki sucks.
At any rate,
Mr.
and then we also drove from one time from Detroit to Batavia. You know where Batavia is, between Rochester and Buffalo, to watch Speedy Scott race at Batavia Downs, and he broke at the start at 1-9 and finished last by 100 lengths. I mean, even the great horses have a mishap, and the crowd was booing.
You drove from Detroit to the Batavia?
That is correct.
That's sick.
For a race. Well, there you go. I'm trying to outdo you on the degeneracy.
You did.
I got you beat.
You just did.
Yeah. And he broke at the start.
That's amazing.
Also, one time drove from Detroit to Batavia to see Cardigan Bay with Stanley Dancer driving. He got parked the whole mile and finished 4th. Good Time Boy, driven by Henri Fillon, won the race. Now, do you know how many years ago that is? That's 32 years, and I still remember.
There's something wrong there.
I keep saying my whole life, my brain is filled up with crap that I'm trying to... If you could just get deprogrammed, you know how they do like a high colonic, to kind of like flush out your inside? Yeah. If they could do the same thing with your brain, wouldn't it be great?
That is the best.
Oh, God.
You made my day.
Okay. No extra charge.
Okay.
Welcome back, by the way. Or is it the other way around? Well, we're both back. In fact, this week, we have a pristine schedule. And just remember, it's not important that we succeed, but that the other guys fail. And boy, did they do a good job of that in the trend. They vanished off the face of the map. All the ink that those guys are getting over there, you can put all the phony baloney you want on the air, Dan, you little bastard. But the fact of the matter is, you guys don't even show anymore. They're not even in the top 25. They don't exist.
Nothing hurts a bad product worse than a lot of good advertising.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is. Remember Peel's product? Remember Peel's beer?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Nothing hurts a bad product more than good advertising.
Was it a bad beer?
They had a bad brew, and they had Bert and Harry Peel and Bob and Ray, and they were great commercials except for one thing. People bought the beer and they were spitting it out.
Kind of like Stroh's. In Detroit, you never heard of Stroh's?
Yes.
We used to, the nickname for it was Tiger. I can't say the word. Tiger P. I guess
I know
say
what the word is. Yeah, I got to be careful.
Stroh's, horrible. Hey, be careful now.
I'm being careful. Every step of the way.
Tread very lightly now.
You have a nice day. It's time for me to go.
Okay, see ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Peter Jennings, what a life.
Oh, I mean, tremendous.
Let's go to calls. Drusilla, Georgia. Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
First of all, Larry, I want to thank you for channeling Mr. Jennings from Beyond the Grave for us.
Okay.
Peter, how are things in hell?
Well, it's hard. I never thought it was going to be anything but hard.
So I guess now you're really a smoker, huh?
Oh, yes. I think it goes with the territory.
Goes with the territory. Ocala, Florida, for Peter Jennings. Hello.
Hey, Peter, do you know any dead celebrity jokes?
No, ma'am, and if I did, I wouldn't say so.
Baldwin City, Kansas. Hello.
Yeah, Peter, are the rumors true? Is hell really a couple degrees cooler than the center of a McDonald's apple pie?
I think the answer is yes. But you've asked a question that a lot of people in the country are going to ask today.
Somerset, Kentucky, for Peter Jennings. Hello.
Hi, gentlemen.
Hi.
Hello, ma'am.
Mr. Jennings, is there Celine Dion music in hell?
Yes. And it just happens. It goes on and on and on for hour and hour and hour after end.
Oh, my. I think that would make my ears bleed.
Oh, many do indeed.
One more call. We have a minute left. Downers Grove, Illinois. Hello.
Mr. Jennings, what would you like for Christmas?
Saddam Hussein.
Oh, so Saddam's on your wish list.
Yes, as is George Bush. George Bush is also...
Peter Jennings.
Yeah.
Thank you as always, Peter.
Thanks, it's really nice to see you.
Oh, that is beautiful, you know what? Every now and then, when you least expect it, something good happens. 10 past 10 at 560 WQAM. Happy Tuesday, August 30th.
About 30, man.
And if you don't have any power, you're probably listening on a battery-operated radio, or you're not listening at all. Or you're listening on somebody else's internets.
Or one of those Russian hand-cranky...
well, we're sorry about that. And again, I just can't believe how bad the so-called experts blew it last Thursday and Friday. They were clueless. Instead of like saying, and didn't I say, which I'm not saying that I know anything, but didn't I say that this thing could go anywhere?
You said
and then I got sucked into that thing by that Chad Stewart Clyde, whatever his name is, on CNN about, well, Boca, and he had the direct line. And it did take that northwestern jog just ever so momentarily. And so it looked like at that point it might hit Boca. And then they were saying like a couple hours later, well, between Fort Lauderdale and Pompano Beach. Well, guess what? It didn't go anywhere near Pompano Beach. The eye went right over George's house.
I don't know about that, but...
What?
I mean, I live in Pompano Beach.
You live... Oh, that's right. I've never seen a guy that keeps moving around so much. Now, is there like a hit out on you or something? What's the story?
You know, transient, like Boxcar Willie.
Yeah, that's right. You're just like your predecessor there, the one that used to sleep under the overpass. Yeah. Well, can't we find somebody that's got like a permanent address to work this job? Jesus.
No.
Every time you turn around, well, I'm moving this week. What's that all about? Did your roommate move out or what?
Leases are only a year, buddy. You know.
It's been a year?
I'm on the move.
You've been on this show for a year?
I've been on the show over a year. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Fugit.
Oh, my God. Time is just flying. In fact, time flying on this great summer schedule, too. That's what really's got me just aghast.
Can we still say Fugit?
Holy cow. Yeah, just Fugit. Man. This schedule, this week and next week, and then it's back. And I keep thinking to myself, 5 days a week? You have to be schmitting me, man. You've got to be pulling my legs. Wow. This is fine. Let's just keep it going this way. This is working out well. The trend came out. We don't discuss trends anymore, except the fact that we didn't do too great. And no spigot inglés in the trend in July. No speaking English. The Julio stations went through the roof, and that's because anybody who speaks English gets out of town in July, and the only people available to send in the diaries are, Julios, old Julios who are listening to Radio Mambi. And the other, it's not important that we succeed, but that Waxy fails, and they sure are doing a great job of that. Nice going, boys. They fell off the face of the earth, off the face of the globe, for all the ink that they're getting, man. I don't care when we do the break. We got no spots today anyway. So I'll just
Did
South
you get
Florida
that new
what?
piece of copy that I just
I
faxed?
got relax. Okay. Everything is under control, man.
Well,
Everything on this end is under control. The sun is
people are
shining.
worried.
It's beautiful. South Florida consumers still recovering from the most recent wave of gasoline price increases could face even higher prices, perhaps as much as 30 cents a gallon in the aftermath of Katrina. The storm shut down oil production in the Gulf. Well, see, they got conflicting reports on this, depending on who you listen to, is what excuse is going to be, how much damage was done. Tore through the heart of the U.S. oil refining industry, closing plants that supply most of the gas, diesel, oil, other fuels used in the Tri-County area, Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. South Florida, which gets about three-quarters of its gas from the Gulf refinery, should be seeing higher pump prices as soon as new deliveries of gas arrive, said Jim Smith, president of the Florida Petroleum Marketing and Convenience Store Association, which has about 56... In other words, thank you, Mr. President, for those low gas prices. And they're going to say, well, he had nothing to do with the hurricane. Well, guess what? Don't be too sure of that. 2 words you need to keep in mind: global warming.
Oh, there you go again.
Yeah, there I go again. It's
Liberal
absolutely
mythology.
right.
Yeah.
Global freaking warming. Those 3 words. I can't believe I've been to more tracks by almost double what Hank's been to. So I'm a much bigger degenerate than he'll ever be. He's working on it, though. 14 after 10 at 560 WQAM was your...
Those people are ice holes.
.19 at 560 WQAM. Anyway, right before the storm hit, which was 7 o'clock on Friday, was it Friday? Thursday night. Yeah. 7 o'clock on Thursday night before it hit the southeast Florida coast, right there in Hollywood, between Hollywood and like North Miami Beach. Hallandale, they were saying. But at any rate, they were still saying, and I remember reading the advisories on the air, was saying a weak Category 1. And then Muff tells me that there were some of these so-called local experts, some of the weather fairies, who were saying, oh, it might not even be a hurricane. It might just go back to being a tropical storm at less than 75 miles an hour when it comes on shore. Well, guess what? Yeah, bad guess. You know, I realize that it's imprecise forecasting the weather. That's the understatement of the century. But, I mean, it was so bad and so far off. And you'll notice that even, and they were also saying that when it was going to go out the ass end side of Florida on the west coast, and then it was going to go into the Gulf and become a Category 2 or 3 hurricane. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Did it become a Category 2 or 3 hurricane? No. It became a Category 5 hurricane. And then even as it was like approaching New Orleans, at the very last minute there, it took that little jog to the east, luckily for them. Mm-hmm. I mean, they got horrendous damage and just devastating, catastrophic damage, and the roof of the Superdome just about got peeled right off, and big chunks of it got ripped open. But can you imagine if that would continue where it was going? Wow. And so instead you get Biloxi and Mobile, all those places that got hammered. Hammered, I said. Okay. So we Category 1 my ass, and like I said, it's just, why, you know, they can't find a happy medium. They either they get it, everybody hysterical to the point of like jumping out of windows, or it's like, oh, well, this is going to be much ado about nothing, but I mean, they had me convinced that it was like a little overkill, you know, like just a little bit of wind and whatever. And then it took that left turn, very similar to Andrew in that respect. Right. Remember how we saw Andrew sitting right off there east of the Dade-Broward line, kind of then at the last minute took that left turn and just smashed through Homestead and Cutler Ridge and Peron and South Dade and the Keys. Here's George's poll from yesterday. What's the worst thing about, and we apologize, by the way, for all the off-the-air time, but then again, FP&L, they are what they are, they suck. It's just the way it is. I was getting reports that as of 3 o'clock Friday afternoon, which is a Thursday afternoon, long before the thing, and what else were they saying? 8 o'clock till 3 in the morning it was going to come on shore, right?
Right.
Well, guess what? No, earlier than that. But by 3 in the afternoon, people already were losing their power. Now, how is that possible when there wasn't any storm yet? I mean, there was some rain in some of the outer bands and the boys in the band, but other than that, there wasn't much of anything, right?
Right.
So why was the power going out?
I don't know.
Yeah. But nevertheless, like I said, 7 weeks from Shavuos, you'll have it back on. I don't know where those FP&L announcements are that they're always putting on the air in situations like this where they say, FP&L apologizes for the fact that you're sitting there in the dark with your battery-operated radio and, give you some kind of idea what's going to go on. No, I don't see that.
It's me again.
Yeah. What's the worst thing about living in Florida? George had 912 votes. Pretty good from a lot of dissatisfied people. And you know what? I voted for the winning category, the people, 302. Not even a contest. The people.
All of them. A lot of them.
The peephole. The governor, that's the fat-ass governor to you, 171. The Jebster. Little brother. The Heat, 143. Now, is that the basketball team or the weather?
Take your choice.
Or but maybe it's the traffic, 116. By the way, Josh Cordes just moved again for the 18th time this month. I can't keep track of that whole deal. Now, you're moving because you're moving up in the world, or you're moving?
I actually live in the same complex. I just moved in with my brother.
You moved in with your brother?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. I saw a movie last night, the Morrison tapes.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not like the movie.
No, the Morrison Murders was the name. About two brothers, and one of them killed the rest of the family. I just mentioned that. Not good living with your brother. The Storm's 102. The Mosquito's 29. Now, is your girlfriend also living in there? Has you got like a three-way going?
Yeah. No, he's smart.
No, definitely not.
Oh. Traffic 116. Storm's 102. The Mosquito's 29. As big as kumquats. The utility companies. You couldn't mean like FP&L and the other ones, could you? 23. The School's 20. And by the way, Clarence, you can take that electric socket and just plug it in right inside your
rectum.
You idiot, you quisling. Just get out of George's face already and stop trying to play Butch Boss with George. You notice how he only comes in there when you're on, giving you instructions. Well, don't do this and don't talk about... Screw you, Clarence, you idiot, you quisling.
You fairy.
The School's 20. The Restaurant's 5. Well, we got a lot of good restaurants in South Florida. Not as many as we used to have. Oh, so many good ones. And the Store's 1. The Stores? What does that mean, the Stores?
Well,
Huh?
There were
what
issues
story?
of late.
Oh, okay. Well, there's only one vote. So there's your thing. Now, getting back to El Presidente. Thanks for those low... Oh, look who they got on there now. Speaking of hysteria...
Have you
if the water continues to rise at the current rate of an inch every 5 minutes, we have been on emergency backup generator power since about
She's from Tulane University Hospital.
2 o'clock in the morning yesterday,
about
24 hours ago.
Sanchez.
And at the current rate the water is
rising,
we will lose emergency backup generator power.
At last week.
Oh, and there's Mrs. Limbaugh. You see, no matter where you turn, you can't win. We're just surrounded by fascists now. Although she's supposedly a liberal, but I guarantee it'll rub off. Time Magazine's got an article in the issue that comes out today. Is global warming fueling Katrina? I'm not going to read it because it's kind of like wishy-washy and bada-beep, bada-boop, and maybe this. But it says warm ocean temperatures are a key ingredient for monster hurricanes, prompting some scientists to believe that global warming is exacerbating. Can we say that?
No.
Exacerbating our storm troubles. One especially sobering study from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, but what do they know, found that hurricane wind speeds have increased about 50% in the past 50 years. And since warm oceans are such a critical ingredient in hurricane formation, anything that gets the water warming more could get the storms growing worse. Global warming, in theory at least, would be more than sufficient to do that. While the people in New Orleans may not see another hurricane for years, the next one they do see could make even Katrina look mild by comparison. In other words, more like maybe a tsunami, Mommy. See that? Mm-hmm. Global warming, just those two words. They were actually talking about that the other day, and I thought, gee, they're going to pull the plug on whatever channel that was, although probably a Canadian channel. Because if it was in the USA, you'd see the word police come in there, the truth police come in there, and the stormtroopers just drag them out. Remember how they were like dragging Howard Beale out of the studio that time?
Yeah.
It would be kind of like similar to that. At least 55 dead. Well, that's what it says in this story. Well, that's in Mississippi. I think 64. But it's going to be a lot more than that because they haven't been able to get in where these houses have collapsed and other buildings. It's going to be, the death toll is going to be in the hundreds. Am I right?
Yep.
What do we have, 7 in South Florida? And let me say it again, all you weather fairies out there, you blew it big time, man. You weren't even close as far as where the eye was coming on shore, as far as how severe it was going to be, as how much the damage. Not even close. So why not just come on and say, we don't know, just go and get your plywood and visqueen and water and batteries and act crazy. Do whatever you need to do, but do something. At any rate, more than 55 people dead in Mississippi. Even with Katrina swirling away to the north, 2 different levee breaches. New Orleans sent a churning sea of water coursing through city streets. And just heard that woman was from Tulane Hospital. The hospitals have stayed open on generator power, but they may not even be able to do that because the water is still rising. And, of course, New Orleans is already 5 feet under sea level to begin with before this. But so what can you say other than it's horrendous and grotesque and catastrophic, but better than us? Isn't that what we always say? Not that we don't feel bad, right?
Right. We just not as bad as we do for ourselves.
And, of course, one more reason never to go there anyway.
This is Neil Rogers. This is 560 AM. Tonight on Brett Camp, don't miss a special guest appearance from Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver Terrell Owens.
Emotions are running high as the third and most intense day of solo begins.
He just told me to shut up, and I just told him I'm a grown man, and I told him the same. I told him to shut up. You don't have to talk to me, I don't talk to you.
The ultimate goal is to be able to be real with who you are and look at the possibility of change.
My attitude is not going to change.
For you, just wanting to have this conversation with me is definitely a step towards moving through the trauma and the issues that you went through, you know?
That's a bunch of lies. Very incorrect. I'm not one of his kids.
Creating the morning sunshine, you stretch your wings and show your colors and patterns to the world. You will be known as Painted Butterfly.
I just want to play football.
That's Terrell Owens. Tonight on Brat Camp, Sage Walk will never be the same again.
There you have it. So everybody knows the real story.
So how about those Dolphins, huh? Oh! Won an exhibition game against the little girls' team against Josh's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Exhibition game only, he points out, and that's correct. Meaningless. Did you go to the game?
No, I did not.
Well, why not?
I don't know how those tickets coming.
Oh, how are those tickets coming? Where's Ray Perry with my Dolphin tickets? Huh?
I'll go talk to him immediately.
No, seriously, shouldn't you have had those by now already?
I would have thought, yeah, since they have one more preseason game.
Well, doesn't that package include all the preseason games as well?
Yeah, it does.
Well, so what the hell's the story, Ray Perry? Huh? You Quisling, you
fairy.
Oh, that place is just coming unglued. I don't understand what that piece of copy. I want George. I want you to take a look at that thing that you just sent me that I just attempted to peruse.
Yeah, I got it here.
That could be the all-time worst piece of garbage. I mean, it's just the misspellings and the grammar and the periods where they don't belong and the ones lacking where they do belong. And I apologize to our friends at Armstrong Toyota and Armstrong Ford of Homestead for Fat Boy being such a lummox. Maybe his pupik was getting in the way of the word processor. I don't know. But it just kind of seems like the whole operation is coming unglued. But nevertheless, paychecks are showing up. 218 votes on our poll today. What's the best movie of 2004 and 2005? Not a lot of good ones, I'll tell you that, and that's pretty obvious by your response so far. Fahrenheit 9/11, 54, that's my vote. But then again, it's a separate category, right?
Right.
They all suck, 26. Didn't see any, 22. Some of you folks need to get out of the house once in a while. Wedding Crashers, 19. The Incredibles, 15. That was really...
Incredible.
Star Wars 311, Kill Bill Volume 211, Batman Begins 10. Now this is my own list that I made, and I'm sure we might have an addition or two. Spider-Man 2, 9. Passion of the Christ 8. Of course, with our crowd, what do you expect? Not much. Cinderella Man 7. Hitch 4. Troy had 4. Hey, by the way, Troy, you're a good guy, but your sales efforts are really like the rest of the guys.
Troy!
Weak. Really weak. Well, he sure sulked his way out of there this morning, didn't he, when I bitched him out? Good. Stay away from us, all you sales holes, okay? You're idiots. Except the new guy. What's the new guy's name?
Jay.
Jay and Billy, they seem to be still human. Sin City 3, 51st Dates 3, Broken Flowers 2, The Born Supremacy 2 with Miss Matt Dillon. Hey, Matt Damon.
You fairy.
Hey, Matt Dillon, Matt Damon. Robots 1, Chocolate Factory 1, War of the Worlds 1. Oh, brother. War of the Worlds, speaking of.
You fairy.
Nobody Knows 1, Constant Gardener 1, Phantom of the Opera 1, The Punisher 1, Day After Tomorrow 1, I, Robot 1, and then no votes yet for these that are on the list. And I didn't just pick these out of thin air. I picked them out of the lists of the top box office movies. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Madagascar, Kingdom of Heaven, Stealth, Unleashed, Look at Me, Head On, My Summer Love, Downfall, Van Helsing, Collateral, and Hellboy all have the big so far. Right?
Right.
That's what we got. Did I put Hellboy on there?
Yeah, it's on there. I saw it.
Oh, I know it's on there, but I mean, maybe you added it. Oh, no, it was on the list. There it is. So there's a whole bunch of them that don't have any. I just noticed that we're like, with all the hurricane stuff still going on, with all these hundreds of thousands of people without power, we're like kind of like a command performance, you know what I mean? I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yeah, we were commanded.
Yeah. And, of course, things are going so well in Iraq. It's a good thing that the hurricane came along to, like, wipe all that stuff off the news, off the headlines. Thousands of Sunni demonstrators rallied in Saddam Hussein's hometown of Tikrit yesterday to denounce Iraq's new constitution a day after negotiators finished the new charter without the endorsement of the Sunni Arabs. Sunni leaders have urged their community to defeat the charter in a nationwide referendum October 15, saying it had been rammed through the drafting committee by a dominant Shiite, Arab, and Kurdish alliance. The absence of Sunni endorsement after more than 2 months of intensive negotiations raised fears of more violence and set the stage for a bitter political fight ahead of the referendum. A political battle threatened to sharpen communal divisions at a time when relations among Shiite Sunnis and Kurds appeared to be worsening.
Oh, my God.
In other words, everything's going great.
Oh, we're fine.
Just great. Here's some good news for you before we have any calls, assuming we're going to get some today. I don't know. We'll see. Comme si, comme ça. You know what I'm saying? If we get them, fine. If not, well, there's that idiot Chad Everett Myers.
Miles per hour down below that 39 mile per hour number. That's where you go from a tropical depression to a tropical storm, and then you go at 74. That's when you get to a hurricane. So now we're down to a tropical depression. Great news.
Great news. Okay, of course, a little bit too late for some poor bastards, but nevertheless, it's a depression, all right. It's a depression. How full of crap you people were, including this guy on CNN. You know, CNN needs to be taken off the air. They need to be off the air now. Wolf Blitzkrieg is on there yesterday, and he's teasing some horrific pictures that we have coming from New Orleans, some horrific footage. He's a madman. It's just like that Air France plane at Pearson here a few weeks ago. The same kind of crap. Hysteria. That's how desperate they are on CNN. Don't watch it, okay? Just program it out of your cable.
Right, I'm watching Mari.
Watch your what's-her-name at night, Rita Cosby. You'll get some real good laughs. She was, talk about incompetent with that thin, pasty voice and that the bizarre nose, man. She was lost. Oh, are we gonna go to Mike now? Can he hear us? I mean, granted, you know, the hurricane and everybody's got technical problems and glitches, but I mean, her true lack of professionalism and lack of any right being on the air has shown through the last couple of days. Rita, you're an idiot, man. You're a bubblehead. But here's the good news. You can use the F word in class, but only 5 times in England. Isn't that great?
Really?
Yes. A secondary school is to allow pupils to swear at teachers as long as they don't do it more than 5 times in a lesson. A running tally of how many times the F word has been used will be kept on the board.
Wait a minute.
If a class goes over the limit, they will be spoken to at the end of the lesson. In other words, they're going to get like spanked or something. You know,
is that what they're calling
those
a period?
British teachers like spanking the kids. Remember in Clockwork Orange?
Oh yeah.
The astonishing policy, which the school says will improve the behavior of pupils, that's behavior with an I-O-U-R, was condemned by the parents group and MPs yesterday. They warned it would backfire. Parents were advised of the plan, which comes into effect when term starts next week. In a letter from the Weavers School in Wellingborough, Northamptonshire, whatever the hell it is. Those Brits, man. What kind of a world can it be as long as we got the Brits? Gives me the Schmitz.
How long is a lesson?
I don't know. As long as it takes to finish the spanking.
Rectum.
I guess. You'll learn. You heard that. I'm going to teach you a lesson.
Rectum.
Yeah. And they just keep banging away. Well, spanking away. Well, that's even worse. WQAM, hello.
Yeah, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, one for the poll, Ray. That Ray Charles movie.
Ray Charles.
Yeah, it was called Ray. I thought it was
just called Ray. Okay, thanks, Pally. It was supposedly pretty good. If you like, I did like Ray Charles.
I saw most of it. It was all right. It was adequate.
Now, it didn't have Freddie, what's his name in it? Will Smith.
No. That's why it was good.
He plays everything else, you know, every other black guy. I thought maybe they have Will Smith.
No, they hired a real actor. They hired Jamie Foxx. They did a fine job.
Oh, that's right. Jamie Foxx was very good. Didn't he win an Oscar for that?
Yes,
he was
did.
nominated anyway.
Yes, he did.
Jamie
He won the Oscar.
Well, I'll be damned. 20 before 11 at 560 WQAM. We hope that everybody is safe and sound. Everything is okay. Our copy is horrendous, and our sales department is just losing it entirely. I think it goes back to the head of the fish again, don't you? The head of the fish, the top of the line back there. There is something really stinking back there, man. And you know what they say? If the fish stinks, chop off the head. It is just unbelievable what's going on back there, or over there, or down there, or next door. I'd go back there and just pee right on their desk if I were you, right during the next break.
No, not even if it was on
Just
fire.
go back there and give them a little hose job right there on the desk. I mean, just incredible what's going on. I said to Duff this morning, why do we even worry about ratings and trends and any of this stuff? You know, it's just like we're in perpetual, just kind of floating our way, like it's a perpetual hurricane, you know? Mm-hmm. We're always floating our way through life, at any rate. The checks keep coming and clearing, and that's all that counts. 19 before 11 at 560 WQAM. We got a pristine schedule today, by the way. The Momeister at 2 o'clock, like it or not. Mad Dog at 4, 6:30. You got your Marlins on deck. The Cardinals in town to play the Marlins at 7 o'clock tonight. At 7:05 is the game time. And Eddie K after the ball game. Big series, man. What is this? Only oh, that's right. Did they win or lose last night? I didn't see it.
We took a beating last night.
Again? After taking a pounding in Chicago on Sunday?
That's right.
They took a beating from the high-flying Cardinals? What was the score?
6-1.
Ooh, they took a pounding again. That's bad. If Dontrell could just pitch every day and get hit by a pitcher. What I tell you about that 95-year-old Greg Maddux? Is he good or what, huh? Pitched a good game, but when push came to shove, man, he pushed it.
This is Dan Rather on special assignment for CBS News. I now have a major announcement to make. I have decided to change my name from Dan Rather to D-Rath. I thought the entire Dan Rather name was getting in the way between me and my fans. I've also cut my hair to a point in the front and dyed the tips green so I might appeal to the young hipsters. I've also traded in my Lincoln Town Car and got myself a new whip, which is slang for car. My new ride is a Cadillac Escalade, and I've pimped my ride. I've got the spinning rims. I've got the dice hanging from the mirror. And, of course, I've got a kick-ass sound system where I can blare Tupac. Plus, I've got a plasma screen in the back seat so as I can kick it with my homies and play video games. I've redecorated my house, or my crib. It's fact. And when I say fact, it's spelled P-H-A-T, which is slang for cool, hip, happening. Because D-Rad is reinventing himself. I'm wearing my bling, and I'm coming at you, wearing baggy clothes and dating hoes. This ain't no holla back girl. D-Rad on special assignment for CBS News.
You go, Dan. 10:46 at 560 WQAM. He already did?
Yeah, he went.
He's kicking it ancient style is what I'm hearing. Pat Buchanan writes, a national emergency. Oh, and let me just tell you right now, the stories that are on our website today, which I'm going to get to this other one here in a minute. I got a whole pile of stuff, and I don't really care if anybody cares or not, right?
Right. Good.
Ed Naha.
Huh?
Well, he's the one that wrote this. Who is Ed Naha? Let me just, because people like to know, well, who the hell is Ed Naha? Uh-huh. Maybe he knows John Levitt. Remember John Levitt? Maybe he knows Ed Naha. Let's see. Does it say on here who the hell Ed Naha is? He's just a columnist. He wrote a column called Cable News Hucksters and Harlots, which fits in with what I've been telling you about all the propaganda that you get fed as news. That's on our website, and of all the stories that are on there, those 5 of you who read the stories, that's the one you ought to be reading if you don't only read one. That's he's got his thumb right on. It's too long to read the whole thing. Pat Buchanan writes a national emergency. He says on August 12th, New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson declared a state of emergency due to a chaotic situation involving illegal alien smuggling and illegal drug shipments on his southern border. 3 days later, Governor Janet Napolitano followed suit in Arizona. I wonder if Janet's related to the George Napolitano and Joe Napolitano family and Anthony as well at Pompano Park and Pocono Downs. Reason, the crisis on the border. The ally, and free immigration policy of George Bush and Vicente Fox, beloved of corporate America, has created a hell on our southern border. Those southwestern states are being inundated by illegal aliens, trashing ranches, killing cattle, committing crimes, eating up tax dollars. The traffic in narcotics and human beings from Mexico is a national scandal and a human rights disgrace. What is true of New Mexico and Arizona is true of our nation, which is now home to an estimated 10 to 15 million aliens who've broken our laws and broken into our country. It's a mark of the cowardice of our leaders that they're so terrified of being called bigots that they tolerate this criminality. The moral rot of political correctness runs deep today in both national parties. A president like Teddy Roosevelt would have led the army to the border years ago, and if Fox didn't cooperate, TR would have gone on to Mexico City. Nor would Ike, who deported all illegal aliens in '53, have stood still for this being done to the country he had defended in war. What are these Bush Republicans afraid of? Dirty looks from the help at the country club? The question of whether America is going to remain one nation or whether our Southwest will wind up as a giant Kosovo, separated by language and loyalty from the rest of America, is on the table. Where is Bush? All wrapped up in the issue of whether women in Najaf will have the same rights in divorce and custody cases as women in Nebraska. His legislative agenda for the fall includes a blanket amnesty for illegals so they can be exploited by businesses who want to hold wages down as they dump the social costs for their employees, health care, schools, courts, cops, prisons, onto the taxpayers. Not only have Richardson and Napolitano awakened, they're on the front line. So too has Hillary Clinton, who's spoken out against illegal immigration with a forthrightness that makes Bush sound like a talking head for La Raza. La Raza. Why is the Republican Congress permitting this president to persist in the dereliction of his sworn duty? George Bush is the chief executive of the USA. It is his duty to enforce the laws. I think a little swig of soda here would be in calling. Those laws are clear. People who break in are to be sent back, yet more than 10 million have broken in with impunity. Another million attempt to break in every year. 500,000 succeed. Border security is homeland security. How then can the Department of Homeland Security say America is secure? Who can guarantee that of the untold millions of illegals here and the scores of thousands ordered deported for crimes who have disappeared into our midst, that none is a terrorist waiting for orders to blow up a subway or a mall and massacre American citizens? Most of these illegals come to work to send money back to their families. They're not bad people, but because they're predominantly young and male, they commit a disproportionate share of violent crimes. Why should U.S. citizens be assaulted, robbed, raped, and murdered, and have their children molested because their government won't enforce its own laws? Is this not an indictment of democracy itself? What dictatorial regime would put up with this? Evidently this one. The Republican Party claims to be a conservative party, but what kind of conservative is it who, to cut a few costs or make a few bucks, will turn his family's home into a neighborhood flophouse? In a recent poll, 40% of Mexicans, 40 million people, said they would like to come to the U.S., and 20% expressed a willingness to break in. Time to cut the babble about how NAFTA is going to solve the problem. This is a national emergency. Twice George Bush has taken an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the U.S. Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution reads, the U.S. shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion. Well, we are being invaded, and the President of the U.S. is not doing his duty to protect the states against that invasion. Some courageous Republican, to get the attention of this White House, should drop into the hopper a bill of impeachment charging George W. Bush with a conscious refusal to uphold his oath and defend the states of the Union against invasion. It may be the only way left to get his attention before the border vanishes and our beloved country dissolves into Mex-America, what TR called a polyglot boarding house for the world. Pat Buchanan finally got his thumb on it. How do you like that, huh?
You go, Pat.
Nice going, Pat.
Absolutely correct, sir.
Excellent. Should we take a call or two here or what? Because I don't know if we got a whole bunch of movies on there. I really don't care. Because I don't think we got anybody listening anyway. I mean, they're all like busy putting their lives back together again, cleaning up all that trash and that mess. Hoping that FP&L might get off their ass for those poor bastards. All those families who are sitting out there. Now, how many days do you have to wait? 3?
From Thursday to yesterday.
To Friday to Saturday. Yesterday, it's 4 days. Mm-hmm. Almost 4 full days before George finally got his power back. And luckily, he had a generator and spilled gas all over the inside of his car. Has a mess. Maybe you ought to take it down to Armstrong Ford or Armstrong Toyota.
Okay.
I'm serious. Find out from Fat Boy. Seriously, I can't get over that he sent that. It's just. Well, why am I surprised by anything that goes on in this place, right?
Why should you be?
It is so sloppy. It is so, and I'm supposed to make magic from that. You give me a piece of turd like that, and I'm supposed to make it into a gold leaf. You fat tub of garbage, you idiot, you quisling, you fairy. WQAM, hello. QAM, call waiting line. WQAM, hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I have a Weather Fairy spy report.
Yeah.
Last Sunday night, the CBS affiliate in New Orleans was streaming their newscast on the internet, and I was watching it. And who should come on to be interviewed but Brian Andrews?
Brian Andrews. I thought we were going to say Brian Norcross. I saw Brian Norcross on a couple of times on national TV doing his Weather Fairy bit.
No, he had been sent.
Yeah.
Oh, he had been sent by his, by his Miami station, I guess, Channel 4.
No, Brian Norcross, not Brian Andrews.
No, Brian Andrews. You know who he is.
He works at Channel 4?
Yeah. He said he was from WFOR, and he had been sent to cover the New Orleans weather event
Yeah.
so that the people in Miami could see it firsthand.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And?
We're not talking about women.
Okay. I thought there was going to be like some punchline to that, didn't you? Like there was going to be something meaningful?
Here it is.
WQAM, hello.
Neil.
Yes.
Thank God you answered. I'd just like to say, long-time listener, first-time caller,
Yeah,
you're doing a
nobody
good
cares.
job. I still love you.
Yeah, nobody cares about that either. How do you like that? That was good, huh?
But wait, there's
like
more.
I said, huh?
But there's more.
567-0560. Let's get a lot more like those two. Yeah, let's do it. Let's kick it ancient style, man. Pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular wireless lines. Did I mention, by the way, that your power will be back sometime between now and next Shavuos, for those of you who are like wondering if your life is ever... But again, like Hank said, can you imagine maybe up to 6 weeks with no power in New Orleans and some of those other places? Wow.
Oh, and the flooding.
Yeah. I think those people ought to just like... And when you say pack up their stuff, what stuff? Maybe if they got in the car and evacuated and got the hell out.
A lot of people were, but obviously not all of them.
But I mean, how much stuff could they take with them, right?
A little bit.
So you're going to be seeing a lot of people. It's very sad. You know how you see these homeless people with they got like a trash bag.
Yeah.
And no, seriously, their life is in a trash bag. It's kind of like when you work at QAM. WQAM, hello.
After further review.
WQAM, hello.
Neil,
Yes, sir.
how are you today?
Pretty good.
Good. Neil, I just pulled up beside a guy about 10 minutes ago on State Road 7, and he had all these Bush bumper stickers on the back of his car.
Yeah.
And I just had to say to him, I just pulled up beside him, he happened to have his window down. And I said, so you support Bush? He goes, yeah, I do support Bush. I said, how could you support a guy who opens the borders, who sends the kids to die for money for Halliburton and this and that? And he goes, you know what? He's still doing a great job. I mean, what are you talking about? I mean, this guy still thinks that things are going. Some people, if you tell them that it's great, you tell them that they'll actually believe it. They can close their eyes and not see what's really happening around them.
Yeah, the only people to blame for what's going on now are the American public, man. 50% of the people in the country are so stinking stupid, man. It's
People aren't
unbelievable.
outraged enough, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
They're not outraged at all. Like the one woman there that's countering Cindy Sheehan there, and she's hysterical. I support my president. Just carrying on like a maniac. I wonder how much they're paying that bitch.
Well, that was Cindy Sheehan that was supporting the president.
I'm saying the woman that's counter protesting is doing.
Oh
that.
yeah, exactly. Well,
Okay, have a great day, pal. Get your ears fixed. It's 10:57. How's that poll on the movies coming? I thought it would be like a little diversion anyway from all this depressing stuff. The movie thing. Movies always right.
Yeah.
Although evidently it's not, because these people don't go to. Our goal for today on the poll is 300 votes. By the way, we got 285. What? Well, listen. The way things are going right now. Best movie of 2004-2005, Fahrenheit 9/11/76. That's our crowd, of course. You commie pinko liberal fags. They all sucked 33. Didn't see any 24. I mean, what is that? That's embarrassing to me. Wedding Crashers 21, The Incredibles 17, Star Wars 3 has got 16, Batman Begins 13, Kill Bill Volume 2 11, Sin City 9, Passion of the Christ 9, Oh Jesus, Spider-Man 2 9, Cinderella Man 8, Ray 7, 50 First Dates 5, Hitch 4, Troy's got 4, and I guarantee Screwan saw them all. Born Supremacy 3, War of the Worlds 2, Broken Flowers 2, Robots 1, Chocolate Factory 1, Kingdom of Heaven 1, Nobody Knows 1, Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen. Well, it's not really worthwhile reading all these others with the one. And we got 285, so our goal is like 286.
This is Neil Rogers. This is 560 QAM.
This is the Neil Rogers Show. This is your brain. Any questions? With a quick editorial, here's Pat Robertson.
Hello, this is Reverend Pat Robertson. Now, many of you have been criticizing me because I called for the assassination of Venezuelan President Hugo Chávez. Now, before you try casting the first stone, let me clarify my statement so you don't label me some religious zealot. As decent, God-fearing Christians, it's our job to cleanse the earth of all the evil dictators, even those who pose no imminent threat towards us. For if we do the right thing by killing people we don't like, we'll be rewarded when Jesus comes down on a gold-studded chariot giving out those boxes of Raisinets to all the good girls and boys so they won't have to pay those overinflated concession prices the next time they see some crappy Rob Schneider flick, which I don't even know if that piece of crap is out on DVD yet.
Excuse me, Pat.
Yes?
Stifle yourself.
Okie dokie then. This is Pat Robertson, and you have a great day.
Was that Pat Robertson or Bob Schieffer? I heard him say okie dokie.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we ought to send him to Lake Okefenokee or whatever the hell that is. Boy, I tell you, the Deep South. Maybe God is cleansing the Deep South, you think?
Not fast enough.
And you notice Bush on there the other day. Was it yesterday or the day before? And I was on Sunday. And it was just during a speech yesterday about how, well, all we're doing is praying. We're praying. All Americans are praying to God. Well, if you're praying to God so that so many people don't get killed during a hurricane, how come God let the hurricane happen in the first place in all these heavily populated areas? You bozo, you idiot, you fairy, you imbecile. It's always the same thing. Let's pray to God. That's the American imbecilic way, man. Oh, so anyway, Gold Star for Families for Peace.
Huh?
Gold Star Families for Peace. That's the name of the group. They've got a PSA they're running with, not a PSA, but a paid spot with Cindy Sheehan. It was just on here before the 11 o'clock, during our break. You didn't see it?
No.
It's great. And she looks right in the camera, and they showed a close-up, and she's talking about he lied, that Bush lied, and her son died for nothing, and what's this noble cause, and why not admit our mistake before it's too late and we kill any more soldiers, and yada, yada, yada. And of course, going to fall on deaf ears. You people in the media, and I know we have, CNN's got a bureau in town, and the networks have their local bureaus. You're a disgrace. Each and every single one of you, man. You have the power. You got the ability, but you're all. In fact, this article, which I urge everybody to read, I said that before, but you won't do it anyway. But at least I told you so. Cable News, Hucksters and Harlots by Ed Naha. Aha. And I'm only going to read a part of it because it's like long, real long, but. The nicest thing to be said about cable news is, just when you think it can't sink any lower, it surprises you and goes substrata. Take the deranged coverage of Cindy Sheehan, please, rimshot. And I'm not just talking about Fox, as if that was actually a news channel. Regarding the train wreck formerly known as CNN, when Sheehan returned to Crawford last week, a legitimate news story, and I stress the word news, CNN somehow felt the responsibility to report this news story by also featuring a segment spotlighting folks who are pro-Bush. Thank God Martin Luther King Jr. is no longer around giving his pesky I Have a Dream speeches. CNN would probably offer equal airtime to the Grand Dragon of the KKK for in-depth analysis. The blur between legitimate news and editorializing is now forever joined at the hip, like an ester from the Todd Browning movie Freaks. It's truly jarring and equally disgusting, but the fix is in. No news is our news. Wouldn't it be great if these corporate media hucksters saw fit to apply this tact across the board? When Bush utters an inanity like, our strategy is straightforward, as Iraqis stand up, Americans will stand down, you'd cut to Blitzer or Donner or Vixen and a guest with an opposing view. Well, Wolf, clearly our president is talking out of his ass again. American reporters, both in newsprint and on the airwaves, have never been so corrupted. They suck at the teat of the Beltway as if they were Biafran children in need of curdled mother's milk, not to get news spread out to us common folk, but to further their careers and endorse government-spewed propaganda as fact. As Dan Frumkin, an Aces online writer for the not-so-hot-so Washington Post, reported last week, these guys will do anything to keep their jobs. About 50 members of the White House press corps accepted President Bush's invitation last night to come over to his house in Crawford, eat his food, drink his booze, hang around the pool, and schmooze with him, while promising not to tell anyone what he said afterward. Perfect. Reporters sworn to secrecy in order to touch the helm of our feckless leader. Touch the hem. I didn't know he wore a dress.
It's lovely.
Yeah. The Associated Press weighed in with a jovial, the casual affair of fried catfish, potato salad, coleslaw, homemade cheese, and chocolate chip cookies followed a tradition in which Bush and his wife Laura have the press covering his annual August vacation out to their ranch in Central Texas as sort of a thank you. Yes, thank you for bowing down to the anointed one. As Frumkin pointed out, one Bush touch particularly appreciated by the working media, invitations were sent out at the last minute, so only the reporters and photographers already in the area could attend, preventing any big-footing by the media elites in Washington or New York or on vacation themselves. So if you're covering Sheehan, have a brewski. Covering Karl Rove, forget about it. Another ironic note, in order to get to the Big Bash, all the reporters had to drive past Sheehan's camp en route to the Republican version of Valhalla. What's death when you can get a head pat from our perspiring president? And Bush has good reason to sweat. Cindy Sheehan's face is George Bush's worst enemy. Why? Because it's real. She's not a politician. She's not a group. She's a mom. Because of that fact, the Republican smear machine, and by extension the slackard press in its thrall, have been working overtime, even going so far as to create a prefabricated grassroots movement via a Republican-oriented PR firm dubbed You Don't Speak for Me, Cindy. Its bus tour, professionally organized, as opposed to Sheehan's decision to camp out at Crawford actually being backed by real people, has been getting pumped up by all the cable outlets, CNN, MSNBC, and of course Fox, which should have renamed Weasel about 8 years ago. Sorry, real-life weasels. Even W, facing 3 polls in the past week, which gave him between 36 and 40% popularity rating, with nearly 60% of our citizenry now opposed to the Iraqi quagmire, decided to get on the creative media train, attempting to blunt Sheehan's anti-war mom status by offering a counter-mother, Bush supporter Tammy Pruitt. America lives in freedom because of families like the Pruitts, he smirked last week, introducing the Pruitt family on live TV. Okay, Pruitt has had 5 sons and a husband serving in Iraq. Her husband is now home. Her sons are all alive. She's not exactly a grieving mom, which fits in with Bushco's never-ending attempt to sanitize the war. Once more, when interviewed after Bush's bloviation, Pruitt refused to slam Sheehan, just as Sheehan refuses to slam those military parents who disagree with her position. Bush's spokesvermin in training, Trent Duffy, has been sticking it to Sheehan all week, even going so far as to comment, the president can understand that people don't share his view that we must win the war on terror and we can't retreat and cut and run from terrorists, but he just has a different view. This particularly offensive piece of Bushco's smarminess went widely underreported, but it's now official. If you don't support Bush's invasion, you want the terrorists or insurgents or whatever we're calling them to win. And then this goes on and on with quotes from some grotesque, all the stuff that's going on TV. To make a long story short, it's very long. It's on our website, Cable News, Hucksters and Harlots. You're a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. And you know something? If the media would, and it did take them a long time during Vietnam, but if the media would have reacted this way, they'd still be fighting in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Now, I'm telling you right now, if
They
it would have been
did
for
it right
Walter
this
Cronkite
time.
and a few other people with balls. 5670560, pound 560 in the Verizon and Singular wireless lines. WQAM, hello.
How in the hell did John Roberts lose that job to Bob Schieffer? How did that happen?
Because he had to be on the Supreme Court, man.
I was waiting for that.
I mean, anybody should know that, shouldn't they?
That's right.
Get with it. 5670560, pound 560 in the Verizon and Singular wireless lines. Come on, let's get these phones smoking, man. I came in here today working over a hot microphone, looking out at that beautiful sunny sky. What's the temperature here right now? What is it there, about 110? Yeah. I got to clean up that mess. Another hurricane. 75 degrees, a high of about 77 today. I'll take it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be paradise, and we do have a lot of smelly foreigners here, but nevertheless. WQAM, hello.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to Neil.
Speaking.
Neil.
Yeah.
My wife told me to call you and thank you profusely for mentioning the Flavor Wave oven.
Well, how do you like that?
Man, it is incredible.
It is. Well, thank God for her, man. She's one of the few that listen to me. We did that infomercial thing a week or two ago, and, there were a few. They don't listen to me no more. Maybe that's why they're not selling any spots on this show. Maybe they know that the power of Neil is just gone, you know?
Yeah,
Once
right.
had that tremendous power. The only thing is ice cream. Oh, look at Biloxi. Wow.
Waters had receded quite a bit by the time we got there, according to some of the...
But there's Sky Miles O'Brien. He ought to drown. That's what God's punishment ought to be for him. He ought to, slip into that gigantic lake of water that they have on the roads there and just drown. For his irresponsible so-called reporting on that Air France thing at Pearson here 3-4 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. You're a disgrace. You're an idiot, man. They ought to put you on the next space shuttle, okay, and just blow it up on purpose with you solo. You idiot. You quisling.
You fairy.
God. That's the media. I'll tell you, the news media, forget about Bush. Forget about all this other stuff. And you remember the same thing with that anti-Kerry group, the not-so-swift boat veteran crap?
Right.
And remember how the media just sucked right along on that? Here's a war hero, a decorated war hero, running for president against a well-known draft dodger, and then they turn it around and they get Dan Rather canned at CBS because of the fact that the story that they put on, even though it was true, they couldn't substantiate it. So basically the message is, don't confuse us with the truth. Here's a fax that says, put City of God on there. You sent that to me, right?
No.
I thought you were sending it.
I was going to, but I don't want to lose it. I actually lent it to somebody, and I don't think I'll ever see it again anyway.
Well, it's a Constant Gardener is done by the same director, but it's not out until Wednesday.
I'll make you a copy and send it.
Oh, Constant Gardener is not out yet? So how can it have votes on our poll?
Well, that's how good it is.
Oh. So take it off the list, it says, you effers. And P.S. I wish Bill Kamal was here. Well, all I can say to you is...
You fairy.
Quisling, protect your children. That's my comment.
Bush.
Live from South Central Los Angeles,
It's the Snoop and Lee Iacocca Fizzle Hour. Now, here's live from the show, former Chrysler CEO Lee Iacocca and Snoop Dogg.
Fizzle you, man. Fizzle you.
Yes, hello, welcome, Fizzle. What's that you're saying, Fizzle?
Yeah, Fizzle, man. The name of the show.
Fizzle. Huh?
How you doing, Pops?
I'm fine there, young person.
How izzle you?
Huh?
How izzle you?
I don't know what you're saying. Who's our first guest?
Whizzle to the pizzle and dizzle to the thizzle show.
I've got no idea who that is. Oh, I see her backstage. Please welcome Pam Anderson.
You got bizzle boo.
I think I know what that means. You have tremendous knockers.
How's Tommy Lizzle the Whizzle?
Oh, Tommy's doing great. He's got that new show and the new album.
How did you understand the question of what he said?
Got no more tizzle for you.
Huh?
It's tizzle to tizzle a bizzle.
I don't know what you said, but it's time to take a break.
Yeah, dog?
Who? Your dog. I'm Lee.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you dog. You're my dog.
Okay. Still to come, Jamie Parr when Lee and Snoop return.
Speaking of the weather, I think it might drizzle a bizzle.
For shizzle.
11:18 at 560 WQAM. Here's some good news for you. You're going to love this. Court TV reporter Diane Diamond. She's like one step away from your favorite, the one who I can't think of her name anymore, Nancy Grace. Court TV reporter Diane Diamond was let go last week as the network continues to restructure its daytime programming. I think the Jackson family's behind it. In a note to members in an online Yahoo message board devoted to her, Diamond said that Court TV decided to cut her loose, just like Sammy Smith, cut her loose. Help me make it through the night. You know, she's on that country music Time Life infomercial. Sammy Smith, cut it loose. Even though her contract wasn't due to expire until December. Bye-bye, Diane Diamond. Oh, that's okay. She'll come down on her ass. Court TV told me last Wednesday they planned to dismantle my investigative unit, and Friday was my last day there, Diamond wrote. In a statement, Court TV yesterday confirmed it had let Diamond go. Court TV recently rebranded Court TV News, and as part of that effort, it's restructuring its investigative unit, formerly headed by Ann Diamond. The network added that Diamond had been a tremendous asset and was key to the network's successful coverage of the Michael Jackson trial. Diamond said she'd used her newfound free time to work on her Chronicle of the Jackson case, Be Careful Who You Love, which hits bookstores November 15. The title comes from the King of Pop's musical disavowal of patrimony, the 1983 hit Billie Jean. Oh, Billie Jean, wasn't she a queen?
You fairy.
Her note also suggests that Diamond will continue to make the occasional cable news appearance. Oh, like Nancy Grace. How many shows has she got on every day?
About 30, man.
An occasional appearance. My friend Nancy Grace says now, see that?
Mm-hmm.
My friend Nancy Grace says now that I have some free time, she expects me to join her on her CNN show from time to time. Like how many times a week?
About 30, man.
In July, Court TV split itself into two distinct units, a daytime slate dubbed Court TV News, and a primetime and weekend block tagged Court TV, Seriously Entertaining. The division was effected in order to underscore the network's transition toward presenting original unscripted fare and issue-related movies at night, while emphasizing its news and trial coverage in mornings and afternoons. Court TV. Yeah, once in a great while there's something on there. You watch Court TV?
The wife loves Court TV.
Well, let's see what they got on right now. Let's take a look.
Hate it hard. You know what they have on? Nancy Grace, 24/7.
They have what?
Nancy Grace, all the time.
No, she's on Headline News. She's on Larry
She's
King.
everywhere.
She's on your pop-up toaster. In fact, I think you'll see her face in the bottom of your toilet.
I wish.
Is what I'm hearing, which is a good place for it. So go take a quick...
No, I would take my time with that one.
That will really be an amazing grace. At any rate, I've got to take a bunch of calls here, okay, because I've been out of touch for so long. I want to get back in touch with these people. You believe me? QAM, hello. See, told you. WQAM, hello. Going once.
Good morning.
Too late. WQAM, hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
I have a 3-step plan for saving the United States.
Okay,
First step.
go tell it to somebody who wants to hear it. You're boring. 567-0560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular wireless line. The first step is to stop taking calls, I think. That would sure save my sanity. Wow. WQAM, hello.
How you doing, Neil?
Pretty good, man. Great.
I got two for your phone.
Okay.
If you like great direction in horror movies, you have to see House of a Thousand Corpses and the sequel, The Devil's Reject. Both were directed by Rob Zombie.
Okay.
Great direction.
Okay, you got a great direction, as in any place outside of South Florida, like Northwest? Or maybe just due east? Got those, Josh?
Ooh. Got 'em.
Okay. Josh has got him. And by the way, he's moving again tonight, so you won't see any stories on until about noon tomorrow.
Of course, only one of those really applies because the first one was in 03.
I see. Well, just put the one on there that applies. And the good news is that that Gardner movie, whatever the hell it is, what is it? What's the name of that? The Constant Gardener. It's already got a vote and it's not even out yet. Let's hear it. I bet it's going to be great if that's the case. Wouldn't you think?
It must be.
Huh? I mean, when people haven't even seen it and they're already voting, especially this crowd that doesn't go to any movies. I mean, take a look at that. Didn't see any in the last 2 years, 29. Almost 9% of this audience didn't see any. I mean, please, okay, they have those dollar movie specials on a weekend or something. Go,
They got cable TV.
That's right. There are plenty of 2004 movies that are on cable already now.
You got your friend's house. You can always go over to watch a movie there.
Do not watch the Morrison murders, by the way. I wonder if that was about that restaurant chain.
Impossible. I thought it was about Jim Morrison.
Are they still in business? I sure hope not.
I don't know.
No, they're not. There's no more Morrisons, is there?
I don't know.
Did you ever eat at Morrison's?
I think I did once.
I did. I was practicing for what I'm doing now, and that is old age. Paul Brown in The Guardian writes, speaking of global warming, which those are the two words that ought to be going through your mind right now if you're wondering why all these tsunamis and these... This is only the third hurricane in the history of the U.S., Category 5, to make landfall. Although it was Category 4, I guess, when it finally did. But nevertheless... All the stuff that's going on, the flooding in Europe right now, all the tremendous climatic changes, just stop and think about it for a second and go like that. Oh, yeah, that president's doing a great job. And thank you for those low gas prices again, Mr. President. What a bargoon, man. Going to go up how many cents in South Florida?
About 30, man.
30 cents, which means you're looking at $3 a gallon plus just for regular. I'd go out and get me a horse if I were you. Get a bicycle.
Okay. And
get one of those, what do they call those things that you scoot around on?
A scooter?
No, not a scooter, the big
Segway?
invention. The Segway,
Oh,
that's
Segway,
it.
yeah, excellent.
What a great Segway. Hop on one of those, man. They're just It's going to revolutionize the way we live, okay? Oh, yeah, everybody and their brother's going to be on a Segway. Of course, the brakes don't work too good on those babies, but nevertheless, nothing's perfect. Paul Brown, not the former coach of and founder of the Cleveland Browns, and then the Cincinnati Bengals. I didn't know he sang, Paul Brown. He was in the Bengals. In The Guardian writes, some of America's leading scientists have accused Republican politicians of intimidating climate change experts by placing them under unprecedented scrutiny. Intimidating climate change experts. Are you following this?
Yeah.
We're talking fascism with a capital F as in F-U.
They have V's.
A far-reaching inquiry into the careers of three U.S.'s most senior climate specialists has been launched by Joe Barton, chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Energy and Commerce. He's demanded details of all their sources of funding, methods, and everything they've ever published. Mr. Barton, a Texan closely associated with the fossil fuel lobby, in other words, the oil industry, has spent his 11 years as chairman opposing every single piece of legislation designed to combat climate change. He's using the wide powers of his committee to force the scientists to produce great quantities of material after alleging flaws and lack of transparency in their search. He's working with Ed Whitfield, the chairman of the subcommittee on oversight and investigations. The scientific work they're investigating was important in establishing that man-made carbon emissions were at least partly responsible for global warming and formed part of the 2001 report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which convinced most world leaders, George Bush a notable exception, that urgent action was needed to curb greenhouse gases. The demands and letters sent to the scientists have been compared by some U.S. media commentators to the anti-communist witch hunts pursued by Joe McCarthy in the early 50s. The three U.S. climate scientists, Michael Mann, director of the Earth Science Systems Center at Pennsylvania State, Penn State, Raymond Bradley, director of the Climate System Research Center at University of Massachusetts, and Malcolm Hughes, former director of the Lab of Tree Ring Research at University of Arizona, have been told to send large volumes of material. A letter demanding information on the three and their work has also gone to Arden Bament, director of the U.S. National Science Foundation. Mr. Barton's inquiry was launched after an article in the Wall Street Journal quoted an economist and statistician, neither of them from a climate science background, saying there were methodological flaws and data errors in the three scientists' calculations. It accused the trio of refusing to make their original material available to be cross-checked. Mr. Barton then asked for everything the scientists had ever published and all baseline data. He said the information was necessary because Congress was going to make policy decisions drawing on their work, and his committee needed to check its validity. There followed a demand for details of everything they had done since their careers began, funding received, and procedures for data disclosure. The inquiry has sent shockwaves to the U.S. scientific establishment, already under pressure from the Bush administration, which links funding to policy objectives. 18 of the country's most influential scientists from Princeton and Harvard have written to Mr. Barton and Mr. Whitfield expressing deep concern. Their letter says much of the information requested is unrelated to climate science. It says requests to provide all working materials related to hundreds of publications stretching back decades can be seen as intimidation, intentional or not, and thereby risk compromising the independence of scientific opinion that is vital to the preeminence of American science, as well as the flow of objective science to the government. Alan Lesner protested on behalf of the American Association for the Advancement of Science, expressing deep concern about the inquiry, which appeared to be a search for a basis to discredit the particular scientist rather than a search for understanding. It's the old schmear campaign. That's the whole deal with this bunch, man. Schmear the queer. Political reaction has been stronger. Henry Waxman, senior California Democrat, wrote complaining this was a dubious inquiry, which many viewed as a transparent effort to bully and harass climate change experts who reached conclusions with which you disagree. But the strongest language came from another Republican, Sherwood Bullard, chairman of the House Science Committee. He wrote to express his enormous, strenuous objections to what he sees as the misguided, illegitimate investigation. He said it was pernicious to substitute political review for scientific peer review, and the precedent was truly chilling. He said the inquiry seeks to erase the line between science and politics and should be reconsidered. A spokeswoman for Mr. Barton said yesterday that all required written evidence had been collected. The committee will review everything we have and decide best how to proceed. No decision's been made yet whether to have public hearings to investigate the validity of the scientists' findings, but that could be the next step for this autumn, she said. I wonder if she knows Penny Nance, you think? Maybe she's had Penny Nance deep in her pants.
This is Neil Rogers.
Rectum.
This is 560 QAM.
Hello and welcome to A Current Affair.
Mr. President, thanks for calling in while you're on vacation. Where are you now?
In Florida with my little brother, Jeb.
George, at this rate, you're going to set a record for vacation time for any president ever.
I agree with you. I think what you're doing is really important.
Right.
But we're with you and wish you all the very best. And thanks for taking my phone call.
George, one more question.
Now get back to work.
But
Thank you.
George?
Don't like all the heartburn. Every time I see that retarded dimwit on my TV. Here's President Trump, Republican muscled in and inarticulate idiot. I don't know why they would want this guy, but now he's here. We're screwed the next 4 years with President Thumb.
Absolutely.
Oh, what I did to count votes once more and get who we all voted for. This lips drumming stupid heat. Mindless drunk and rich kid. He's even dumber than me. Here's President Dumb. You don't care what it took. You got him in by hook or crook. The Christian right knows what's best for you and I, but have no fear. We've got a great leader here with President Dumb. I'm dying over here. President Dumb.
Dumber than a box of rocks, as the Mad Dog would say. 26 till noon at 560 WQAM. We got Mo at 2. We got the Mad Dog at 4. 6:30, your pregame show. Cardinals and the Marlins at the ballpark tonight, 7:05. Eddie K follows the game. Ancient Eddie K. We're old, we're grizzly, but we got a few listeners, man. We're ancient. We're kicking it ancient style here on QM. That ought to be our next billboard campaign, don't you think?
Yo.
Yeah, with showing the tip of a big boot kicking some ass. Mainly ours.
One in particular? Oh, okay.
The hurricane food rule, the Sun Sentinel tells you. When in doubt, throw it out. That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I had some mushrooms that I had sliced mushrooms.
Yeah.
That I had sitting in the refrigerator the other day. And I don't know. I've been in there a couple of days, covered up with some stuff around it. And I smelt it, and it seemed okay. And then I dealt it and ate it and fried it, and it was pretty good.
Did you felt it?
I felt it, too, and smelt it. Wow. After only hours without power, experts recommend you toss meats, seafood and dairy products, toss it. That you have in a refrigerator, often those in the freezer as well. After Hurricane Katrina, some South Floridians have been days without electricity, like George was 4 days without it, FP&L. We just mentioned that in passing. You idiots. And know that most of what's on hand has to go. But what about other items like the flour, mustard, and eggs you store? Is that really true that the FP&L people, they restore the power in their own neighborhoods wherever they work?
That's what someone said.
Someone alleges that, when you work for the company, if, there are guys that, have their power out and they happen to work for the company, that the power in their hood, maybe it's just a coincidence that it gets restored real quick. Yeah, by like magic. Maybe they know where to stick it. Flour, mustard, eggs that you store in the refrigerator. Brenda Marty Jimenez, M-A-R-T-Y Brenda Marty Jimenez. What a great name. Family and Consumer Science Agent for the Broward County Extension Agency at the University of Florida. Isn't it amazing that there are all these agencies and all these different groups and these organizations? It just, I don't know. She says, when in doubt, throw it out. Don't rely on appearance and odor, she says. Uh-oh. After all, if you evacuated your home and returned after the electric service is restored, you may have returned to a refrigerator and freezer that are purring and food that's nicely chilled or frozen solid, but that doesn't mean that it's safe.
Oh, my God.
If you live in Data Broward, where the power went out, chances are the food in your refrigerator remained above 40 degrees for more than 2 hours. In addition, the food in your freezer reached above 40 degrees, and much of it is unsafe to eat. One way to tell is if the ice cubes in your freezer become a solid block, which indicates that they melted and refroze. The same thing happened to your food. You need to evaluate whether to keep or throw out items on a case-by-case basis, Jimenez says. And she says, don't call me Jose Jimenez either. I'll give you a bitch slap. To help you, the USDA Food Safety Inspection Service invites you to visit them at FSIS. It's ridiculous. I can't read this whole thing. The website lasts like about 8,000 words on it.
Do a search.
Here you'll find a chart of food items. It's in the Sun Sentinel anyway. Go out and steal one. Here you'll find a chart of food items, whether or not they're safe if held over a certain temperature for a designated period of time. They also answer oft-asked food safety questions. For example, low-fat cheese and eggs held above 40 degrees for over 2 hours should be discarded, but mustard is safe. Don't throw out the mouse turd. An open jar of mayonnaise held above, don't put no mayonnaise on your corned beef sandwich, man, that's for Goyam. An open jar of mayonnaise above 50 degrees for 8 hours should be discarded, but fresh mushrooms are safe to keep. See, there you go, safe to keep. Mushrooms are good. I'm not going to die yet. As are tortillas and peanut butter. Well, what kind of people in this audience have got tortillas in the fridge, right?
I wouldn't know.
Frozen waffles that are defrosted can be refrozen as can flour, commercial, or cornmeal, and nuts. Oh, yeah, your nuts can freeze and defrost many, many times during the course of a lifetime. Also, if canned goods are exposed to floodwaters, even if they look well sealed, they need to be discarded. Canned goods and floodwater is bad mix.
All right.
To get ready for the next hurricane, Jimenez suggests taking a plastic bottle of water. You may need to cut the thin neck off of it. Cut the neck off and freeze it. Place a penny atop the ice. Then if you return home after the next storm and the penny is at the bottom of the bottle, even if the water is refrozen, you know it melted. And you'll know the same thing happened to your food, even if it's frozen when you get home.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that clever?
It's very clever.
In fact, George is going to send everybody in the audience who's listening right now a penny, a special collector's edition penny, that they can stick in their bottle.
Yeah.
Huh? Or they can just stick in their
rectum.
Right? Kind of like Meg Green used to do on IOD. Yeah, she was great at investing, but every time she stood up, those pennies kept falling out. Hey, Meg, you idiot. I got to play that thing.
Please.
Huh? Meg, now, which one? Is it Randy calls Meg?
No, Meg on money.
No, I don't have that. I do have this, though.
Hello?
Randy, I don't hate you at all. Congratulations.
Get out of here, Meg.
You want to know something? Truthfully, I'm happy for you.
Why are you happy for me?
Because I am going to my boat. We're going out for a cruise. I'm having, for the 4.5 years, my first weekends off. I'm promoting my video, not a radio show.
I figured it was some kind of promotion thing.
No, not at all. I'm just saying that I welcome you to the station. Honest to God, I do.
Really?
Trust me. I'm not lying.
All right.
I called to congratulate you.
Well, Meg, can I just ask you one lousy question then?
Sure.
Why on your last show did you say I didn't have a chance in hell of doing anything over here at WIOD?
You know what? I made a mistake. I made a bad call.
Damn right.
I've been listening to you, and I think you're fun, and I think it's perfectly okay to relax and have fun on a weekend. Honest to God. I needed to.
Yeah.
How's that? And I'm enjoying listening to you, and it's no bull. Now, have a good day.
See you. Don't believe a word of it, man. She sat here and trashed me for a whole afternoon. A whole afternoon sat here and said I didn't have a chance in hell. I had no talent. What the hell was I doing here? Boy, Gary made a big mistake. Now she wants to promote something at our tailgate party, so she's going to kiss a little butt.
This is Neil Rogers.
Rectum.
This is 560 QAM.
.45 at 560 WQM on the Mo Howard David and Warm-Up Show. Mo will be along at 2. Can't wait. In fact, if you'd like some extra time, what's the best movie of 2004-2005 is our poll question today. Are we getting a response on this or what?
No.
Wow. Our goal for votes today is 400. We got 370. Think we can do it by 2 o'clock?
Oh, yeah.
Best movie of 2004, you shut up. You get busy packing, okay? It's The Moving Man. I can't believe it. It's in the same complex. That's not really moving, okay? Why did you even mention that except as an excuse for not getting those stories up till 2:30 on Sunday?
Because I don't have any internet in the new place till Monday, like I said.
Just relax. Look, do you think people are busy reading the stories over a hurricane weekend?
No.
Of course not. In fact, you could look on there on the stats thing, and you see that there were a few people that still had power, a few people whose lives weren't disrupted, maybe...
About 30, man.
That's about it. So you don't have to, worry about that when you got important personal stuff to take care of. I mean, back in the day when we had those naked pictures on there and our website was like a main attraction and everybody was like, we got to get, first thing in the morning, got to get on there and to see what hot naked bitch we got on there today. Well, that's a different story. Then we had some people paying attention to NeilRogers.com, but now it's like, as far as intellectuals, right. There are no intellectuals. Like I said, half of the country is dumber than sawdust. Best movie of 2004-2005, Fahrenheit 9/11, 92. And after seeing that movie, the fact that Bush could still steal another election, that should tell you how stupid people are. Because the people who needed to see that aren't the ones that seen it. It was great, but it was like preaching to the choir. I saw it up here, man, and the people, the Canadians in the audience there watching that movie, they were cursing Bush. I mean, like out loud. They were like, you bastard, you lying piece of crap, you fair. Yeah. Fahrenheit 9/11/92. They all sucked 42. Didn't see any.
About 30, man.
Come on. That's like 8% plus of this audience didn't see any movies from 2004 or 5. Aren't you sad when you see that?
Pretty sheltered. Maybe they don't like movies.
I mean, Lassie Come Home was fine in its day, and Gone with the Wind was okay, and Wizard of Oz, but get with it a little bit. Start kicking it new style, or even like more recent style, like post-40s. Wedding Crashers, and George says there's no good movies from the 40s anyway.
We're still looking.
Okay, we'll find one. Oh, yeah, Joseph Cotton and The Third Man. You like Joseph Cotton.
Okay.
Wedding Crashers 26, The Incredibles 22.
Incredible.
Kill Bill Volume 220, Star Wars 318, Ray 16. Ray Charles, Georgia. Ray Charles was great. Batman Begins 50. Although I used to get a little nervous watching him, you know what I'm saying?
Why is that?
I don't know. And like Stevie Wonder, I'm nervous watching blind people.
That's funny. Why is it? You're afraid they're going to run into you, trip over you or something?
No, I didn't mean that, but I'm talking about watching them perform. It's just like Stevie Wonder. He's always like swinging his head around. I'm afraid he's going to hit something. Star Wars 318, Ray 16, Batman Begins 15. Josh said it was great.
I said it was good.
Oh. Well, 15 people agree with you. Spider-Man 2:14, The Passion of the Christ 13, Sin City 10, Cinderella Man 8. Oh, yeah, those Jesus Christers, man, they're going to get us sooner or later. Hitch 7, 50 First Date 6, Troy had 5. Nice going, Troy. Born Supremacy 5. Hey, Matt Damon.
You fairy.
War of the Worlds 3, Tom Cruise.
You fairy.
Chocolate Factory 2, Broken Flowers 2, The Punisher 2, I, Robot 2, Robots 1, not to be confused with, right?
Right.
Kingdom of Heaven 1, Nobody Knows 1. The Constant Gardener is coming out tomorrow, and it's got 1 vote already. It must be sensational. Downfall 1, Van Helsing, Come Here 1. Phantom of the Opera. What was his name that played... I actually told you that a couple of weeks ago. I remember his name that played Professor Van Helsing.
In the original? Yeah, we forgot already.
No, I forgot. Phantom of the... He was also in some other horror movies. Phantom of the Opera 1, Day After Tomorrow 1, Collateral 1, Hellboy 1, and none yet, 0, the big...
Oh! Rock solid.
The Devil Rejects, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Madagascar, Stealth, Unleashed, Look at Me Head On in My Summer Love, 370 votes. Here's a fax that says... Oh, no. Can this be true?
I don't know. I'm trying to find out if it's true.
That would be Wayne Arnold's.
That would
George
be.
is trying to confirm it. Yeah, call over there, and if nobody answers, or if they're saying...
I'm dying over here.
It says,
frying over here?
Oh, yeah, I'm frying over here. Oh, no. Oh, and speaking of that neighborhood, I don't want to get into an ethnic or racial thing, but you notice the loot. See, I got news for you. People who loot in times of emergency and distress, those people need to be shot on sight.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
If you loot, I'm going to shoot.
Yeah, I like that. If you loot, we're going to shoot and aim for the head. Can't stand that. Hauling off refrigerators and TV sets and all kinds of crap.
Remember that earthquake they had in Japan that was brutal and terrible?
Yes.
How many incidences of looting do you think they had?
Oh!
Exactly.
That's because they're civilized.
And how many incidences of price gouging were reported?
Oh!
Exactly.
So you're not talking about those gas prices, are you? Well, the good news is now that they can't... not so good news, but anyway, a little bit better than it's been. They can't raise the price on gas like right now. Of course, it really is a moot point, because if they don't have any at your neighborhood gas station, wherever you're going, it makes no difference. Because as soon as the new shipments come in, they're going to raise them about 30 cents. So if it was like $2.79 before, it's going to be like $3.10 now. Thank you, Mr. President, for those bargain basement gas prices and our ongoing dependence on gas, on oil. Thanks to you and your raghead friends over there in Saudi Arabia. And your not-so-good friends in Venezuela and elsewhere. Anyway, it says Royal Castle on Northwest 7th Avenue, 125th. That's Wayne Arnold's Burning Man. No more Neely Burgers, and George's Feverishly. I'm sure our crack news department is going to be on top of that. Don't you think?
Yeah, crack news.
Yeah.
They know all about the crack.
For crackheads. Yeah, we got a head for news, baby, at QAM. Or, I think more basically, we just spend a lot of time at the head. Oh, I like this article. Do I have time to read it? Yeah. A lot of reading today, a lot of articles. The old man's reading the newspapers on here. That's good. It'll keep you company while you try to put your life back together after this hurricane. And I'm going to say it again, you weather prognosticators and you forecasters, including Max, I got mush in my mouth, Mayfield there at the National Hurricane Center, who you can't understand half of what he's saying, like that. Everybody raves about him. Where's Neil Frank when we need him? Or somebody who can understand what the hell they're saying.
I don't know.
Am I the only one who's perceived that he sounds like he's got mush in his mouth? God, he is lame. And even they were giving us this song to dance about weak category 1 and bada-beep, bada-boop, bada-bop, and all this other baloney. Crap is what you gave out. Absolute crap. And Boca, my ass, and Pompano to Fort Lauderdale, my ass. Hollywood to North Miami Beach. That's where that I was. Mm-hmm. George is sitting there trying to put his life back together, hoping the power will come back on. And he looks out the window and sees the of the hurricane right over the house.
Yeah.
Wow. And George lives in Hollywood, which I didn't know you were old enough yet to live in Hollywood, but nevertheless.
Oh, yeah, I am.
He's working on it. Well, his hair has turned gray, and he's just sporting a beard now, is what Duff said. Gray beard. Wise old man. Pretty soon you're going to look like, you know who I saw in biography this weekend? And he was really a great guy, and I never realized it was Edward G. Robinson.
He was a good guy?
Great guy. But the only problem was he was Jewish, and so when all that witch hunts in Hollywood happened, that's why he didn't get any work for several years.
Edward G. Robinson?
Edward G. Robinson.
Boy!
Yeah. But nevertheless, I just mentioned that in passing. And then later toward the ass end of his life, he started getting a whole lot of work again. Good guy, Eddie. Not that Eddie. Strategizing a Christian coup d'etat, a group of believers want to establish scriptures-based government, one city and county at a time. This is kind of like a sequel to a story I had a couple of weeks ago. Remember that?
Uh-huh.
Jenny Jarvie in the L.A. Times writes, Greenville, South Carolina, ? It began as many trips do with a stop at Walmart to buy a portable DVD player. But Mario DiMartino was planning more than a weekend getaway. He, his wife, and 3 children were embarking on a pilgrimage to South Carolina. I want to migrate and claim the gold of the Lord, said the 38-year-old oil company executive from Pennsylvania. I want to replicate the statues and the mores and scriptures that the one God of the Old Testament espoused to the world. See, I'm trying to read this too fast, and I'm butchering it. So slow down. We've got no spots, a lot of time. Just relax. DiMartino, who drove here recently to look for a new home, is a member of Christian Exodus, a movement of politically active believers who hope to establish a government based upon Christian principles.
Boy!
At a time when evangelicals are exerting influence on the national political stage, having helped secure President Bush's re-election, Christian Exodus believes that people of faith have failed to assert their moral agenda. Abortion is legal. School prayer is banned. There are limits on public displays of the Ten Commandments. Gays and lesbians can marry in Massachusetts. Christian Exodus activists plan to take control of the sheriff's offices, city councils, and school boards. Eventually, they say they will control South Carolina. Well, you know what? They can have it.
Yeah.
They will pass godly legislation defying Supreme Court rulings on the separation of church and state. See, I'm not alarmed by this. I think that all the Jesus Christers, all these professional religion nuts, no matter what stripe they're of, they all ought to take some useless place like North Carolina or the Dakotas or someplace, South Carolina, and go there. We're going to force a constitutional crisis, said Corey Brunell, 29, an investment advisor who founded the group in November 2003. If necessary, he said, we'll secede from the Union. Well, good. We'll pack you a stale salami sandwich with mayonnaise on it.
Right. Let's build a wall around it,
Barbison Goy. Brunell has not moved to South Carolina himself. He promised his wife they would stay in Valley Springs, California, until the end of next year, but believes that his 950 supporters will rally the cause. 5 families have moved so far. Wow, what a movement. Can you smell it? Brunell said his inspiration came from the Free State Project, which in October 2003 appealed to libertarians to move to New Hampshire for limited government intervention, lower taxes, greater individual rights. By 2006, organizers had hoped to have 20,000 people committed to relocating to New Hampshire. So far, 6,600 have said they intended to make the move, but you know how many have done so? 100. Ooh. What a movement. Man. What a grassroots movement. Christian Exodus, Brunell predicted, will be more successful. There are more Christians than libertarians, he said. Isn't that a shame? After scrutinizing electoral records, demographic trends, and property prices, Christian Exodus members identified 2 upstate South Carolina counties. They hope they will not officially say which ones as prime for a conservative takeover. By September of next year, Brunell hopes to have 2,000 activists in one county and 500 in the other. Frank and Tammy Janoski have settled into a 5-bedroom house with white vinyl siding in a new subdivision in rural Spartanburg County. This is where God wants us to be, he said. Oh, I think he got mistaken. I think he wants to. I think God said Hubman and Dreer. Do you know where that is?
No, where?
Hell.
Tell me a map.
Janoski, 38, a self-employed computer engineer, had been contemplating moving from his deadline-oriented lifestyle in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. What's wrong with that? How could you be more religious than being in a holy town of Bethlehem? To a more conservative region with cheaper housing and lower taxes when a church friend handed him a Christian Exodus flyer. What attracted me to the movement was the idea of calling back the country to a righteous standard, he said. Hallelujah! Put your hands on the Bible and get your other hand off my crotch. His first 6 months in South Carolina have been idyllic, Janoski said. Not only do his neighbors wave as they pass by, but they also share most of his conservative Christian beliefs. I bet you they even have, like, flags they put out in front of their houses saying stupid things like, he is risen. Or maybe the cake has risen. If you're going to secede, this is the place to do it. He said a lot of the locals have that spirit. Although Christian Exodus members are confident they can capitalize on evangelical disillusionment with the Republican Party, local observers are skeptical. James Guth, a professor at Furman in Greenville who studies the influence of religion on politics, doesn't think that Christian Exodus will be successful beyond a county level. South Carolina is a state that's dominated by Republicans, he said. Although there are people on the far right edge of the Republican Party, in general, the population is a big fan of Bush. It's Bush country. Nestled in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, upstate South Carolina is the most conservative region of a conservative state. Bush won 58% of the South Carolina vote last time, and Greenville is home to Bob Jones University, a Barbizon fundamentalist Christian college that until recently had banned interracial dating and hates the Catholics like poison. Cletus Blackman. Oh, I can't stand guys named Cletus. Remember Cletus Boyer, third baseman of the Yankees? No, you don't.
No.
Cletus Blackman, treasurer and director of missions at the Greer Baptist Association, which oversees 39 Baptist churches in Janoski's town, doubts that Christian Exodus' focus on taking over the government bodies will appeal to the majority of the region's Christians. You don't find the word control in the scriptures, he said. The basic mission of the church is to proclaim God's redeeming love through the example of Jesus Christ. In other words, kill all your enemies.
This is Neil Rogers. This is 560 AM.
This is Mark Morgan. It's the 12 to 1 hour on QAM.
I've got another obsession to break. No excuse. On Monday nights I will come home late, drenched in booze. Football season begins really soon. 'Cause NFL is the best, the best thing on the tube. 'Cause NFL is the best side tries to watch, it gets confused. Which of these players are natural or on the truth? I can't describe how I miss John Madden, how Michael Hughes. Which players will get arrested for some things they do? Will I cover the point spread in my office pool? 'Cause NFL is the best thing on the news.
Cube.
'Cause NFL is the best thing on the news.
Cube.
One more time, come on.
Cube.
1203 at 560 WQAM. Happy Tuesday, August the 30th. Holy man, this whole summer scam is almost over already. That's bad.
No, it's good.
It went by like a flick of your finger.
Not fast enough.
Went by like a bolt of lightning. Speaking of looters and other slime balls who ought to be shot, West Park. Do you know where West Park is?
In Hollywood?
Oh, that's right. You live there, Sue. And I never heard of West Park. All the years I've lived 8 million years in South Florida, never heard of West Park till this moment, near Hallandale Beach. Oh, no, wait a minute. It says as Hurricane Katrina was making its landfall nearby Hallandale Beach last Thursday, outlaws were breaking into a locked pawn shop, the BSO said today. Once inside, the group gathered, then fled with more than $30,000 worth of merchandise, including 28 firearms. How do you like that? Detectives said the break-in occurred between 9 p.m. Thursday and 6 a.m. Friday at the A&B Pawn, 2103 South State Road 7. Oh, how unusual, a pawn shop on State Road 7. The burglars severed the power lines leading into the shop to silence the alarms, cut off phone service to the building, then entered through a north side door, said BSO spokeswoman Liz Calzadilla Fiallo, whatever the hell her name is.
Yeah.
Hey, Liz. The gang grabbed 28 revolvers. Now, who did Hank say listens to this show? The broad from
Leslie Visser.
Leslie Visser. Hey, Leslie, what's up, sweetheart? I'm trying to think if I like Leslie Visser and her work. Probably not. I'm not really big on her sideline. There was some broad, I saw about 10 seconds of that game last night, and they were interviewing, who the hell were they interviewing? Are they running back from the Cardinals? Come on, Josh. Number 28.
You know what? I'm stuck on that.
Oh, my God! Did I say the Cardinals? The Rams. The St. Louis Rams.
Oh, Marshall Faulk.
Marshall Faulk. Oh, excuse me.
Do I have to dump that?
Huh? Anyway, they were interviewing him, and the broad on the sidelines. You're going to have broads on the sidelines. At least make them hot, make them attractive, make them worth looking at, because they're bubbleheads anyway. They wouldn't know a football if you shoved one up their ass. But this broad on him, and she was nasty looking. Who is that? Do you have any idea who that is?
Does she have short hair?
How the hell do I know if she's got short hair? I didn't look there.
If I said the name, would it ring a bell?
No.
Okay.
Well, you could try it anyway.
Susie Colbert?
Oh, that might be it.
You don't
I
like
have no
her?
idea. What?
What's wrong
I
with
don't
her?
know who it was, but she was ugly, man. She was nasty looking. Not as ugly as our president.
The federal, state, and local governments.
Yeah, we know. Look at that. What is he? Where is he standing? Well, what is all that water? Is that like a picture of a water behind him? Well, what is that? Are you looking at this now?
Looks like a battleship.
Huh?
That's some sort
it's
of
another
battleship
for crying out loud. Oh, and it says on there, we still think we won. Anyway, the gang grabbed 28 revolvers, semi-automatic handguns, shotguns, semi-automatic rifles. In addition, they took computers, laptops. You can get yourself a new computer over there, Josh.
Right.
Free. TVs, stereo systems, video games, movie DVDs, and a large amount of pawned lawn equipment. Oh, maybe they could open up another one of those lawn services. Yeah. Detectives believe a box-type mid-sized truck may have been used to haul away the stolen goods. The shop owners discovered the burglary the following morning. Anyone with information about the identities of these suspects and or their whereabouts should contact Broward Crime Stoppers. Broward! Anonymously, of course, if you value your life, at 954-493-TIPS. Okay? How do you like that? Exploiting everybody else's suffering and misery. I'm going to say it again. People who do stuff like this and looters, all of this stuff. Blow their crap away, man. Do the human race a tremendous service. When in doubt, like Pat Robertson would say, take them out. Oh, speaking of him, Matthew Robinson, not to be confused with Pat Robertson, says Venezuela to seek legal action against Robertson.
All right.
Maybe they just ought to take him out.
To lunch?
Yeah, or to dinner. Maybe they can take him out with, what's his name, with the cannolis, huh? Eli Wallach.
Oh, yeah.
Venezuelan President Hugo Chávez said Sunday his government would take legal action against Pat Robertson and potentially seek his extradition after the U.S. evangelist called for Washington to assassinate the South American leader. Robertson, who later apologized.
I'm sorry, I could just see that.
Yeah. Robertson, who later over, just like Hyman Roth, man. Just like Meyer Lansky. Deport his ass. Israel will take him. One thing about the Israelis, man, anybody who'll kiss their ass, anybody who sucks up to them, oh, come on in, Very sad. Robertson, who later half-heartedly apologized for the remarks, said he was expressing his frustration with Chávez's constant accusations against the administration of President George W. Bush. I announced that my government is going to take legal action in the U.S. to call for the assassination of a head of state as an act of terrorism, Chávez said, a televised speech, and he happens to be
absolutely correct, sir.
The fiery left-wing critic of Bush's foreign policy who frequently charges the U.S. government as plotting to kill him, called Robertson crazy and a public menace. And once again, he is
absolutely correct, sir.
He said Venezuela could seek Robertson's extradition under international treaties and take its claim to the UN if the Bush administration didn't act. Robertson, founder of the Christian Coalition and leader of the Christian right that's backed Bush, said on Monday that if Chávez thinks we're trying to assassinate him, I think we really ought to go ahead and do it. Defense Secretary Rumsfeld, Hermann Goering, said political assassination was against the law, not U.S. policy, although we're famous for having done it many times over the years. Relations between Chávez and the U.S., top buyer of the OPEC nation's oil, have deteriorated since Chávez survived a brief 2002 coup he says was backed by U.S. authorities. Sounds like Salvador Allende all over again. Washington says it's not plotting to kill Chávez and denies involvement in the coup, of course. Chávez said on Friday Bush would be to blame if anything happened to him. In the past, he said Venezuela, the world's fifth largest oil exporter, would cut sales to the U.S. if he was assassinated. A close ally of Fidel Castro, Chávez presents his self-proclaimed revolution as an alternative to U.S. policies in the region. Washington says Chávez is a negative influence who uses oil profits to fund anti-democratic groups in South America while becoming more authoritarian at home. Thank God we don't have authoritarian leadership in this country, eh? In your country, excuse me. U.S. civil rights activist, well, I'll get to the Jesse Jackson thing. Jesse Jackson, see, every now and then Jesse says something that makes sense to us, right?
In rhyme, no less.
Yeah, and he always says it in rhyme, just in time, because get rid of that slime. John Dean writes, remember John Dean?
No.
Yeah, come on, of Watergate fame, John Dean.
Oh, that's John Dean, all right, sorry.
What's wrong with you? You know Jimmy Dean.
Yeah, I do.
And those bigot sandwiches.
And I know that Dean.
Yeah. How's Howie doing, by the way? No, the Democrats are scared crapless of him. He's just a little bit too honest for the rest of the Democratic Party, for the quislings, the weasels in the Democratic Party. John Dean writes, was Pat Robertson's call for assassination of a foreign leader a crime, ? And he's got a whole bunch. I'm not going to read all of that stuff because it's very long and very boring about the legal stuff. Just a little bit, a little tease, and you can read the whole thing on our website, I'm sure. Right, Josh?
That's right.
On Monday, August 22nd, the chairman of the Christian Broadcast Network, Marion Pat Robertson, I didn't know her name was Marion, proclaimed on his 700 Club, hey, Pat.
You fairy.
His 700 Club television show that Venezuelan President Hugo Chávez should be murdered. Don't forget John Wayne's first name was Marion, too, huh?
That's right.
More specifically, Robertson said, I don't know about this doctrine of assassination referring to the American policy since the presidency of Gerald Ford against assassination of foreign leaders, but if Chávez thinks we're trying to assassinate him, I think we really ought to go ahead and do it. It's a whole lot cheaper than starting a war, and I don't think any oil shipments will stop. We have the ability to take him out, Robertson continued. I think the time has come that we exercise that ability. We don't need another $200 billion war to get rid of one, strong-arm dictator. It's a whole lot easier to have some of the covert operatives do the job and then get it over with. When in doubt, take him out. Robertson then found himself in the middle of a media firestorm. He initially denied he'd called for Chávez to be killed, claimed he'd been misinterpreted, but in the age of digital recording, Robertson couldn't flip-flop his way out of his own statement. He said what he said. By Wednesday, Robertson was backing down. I didn't say assassination. I said our special forces should take him out, he claimed on his Wednesday show. Take him out could be a number of things, including kidnapping. No one bought that explanation either, so Robertson quietly posted a half apology on his website. It's only a half apology because it's clear he doesn't really mean to apologize, but rather still seeks to rationalize and justify his dastardly comment. A dastardly deed. From the moment I heard Robertson's remark on the radio, I thought of the federal criminal statutes prohibiting such threats. Do they apply? For me, the answer is yes. Indeed, had these comments been made by a Dan Rather or Bill Moyers or Jesse Jackson, it isn't difficult to imagine some conservative prosecutor taking a passing look at these laws as, say, Pat Robertson might read them and saying, let's prosecute. And then it goes on with all the law and the stuff. You can read it on neilrogers.com. No dirty pictures, we're sorry, but if we put them on there, Eric's going to jail. And you probably will, too, if you look at him. So, no mas. We can't say crap anymore, although the FCC is very concerned about important things. Like crap. In fact, where's that story I have about how the FCC isn't going to investigate Pat Robertson? Oh, no, here it is. It's right here. It's the next story after the break. Jesse Jackson, no less, talking about it. No, they can't investigate when somebody breaks the laws and calls for the assassination of a duly elected foreign leader on his television program over the air. But if somebody says crap or shows a boobie on there or like a nipple, you're going to jail. We're going to fine you $80 gazillion. How do you like that, huh? We're going to cut off your privates. You perverts. You deviates. The Lord is PO'd with you, man. Pissed off and fired up. I wonder what Pat Robertson's going to say about what they're doing. Well, New Orleans, a lot of drunks there, you know. That must be it. God is pissed off. And all you drunks, all you degenerates in New Orleans, man. Although he missed Disney World at one time. What I always tell you, he's got bad aim.
Yeah.
You know? He can't shoot it straight. Maybe Peter North could give God some lessons.
Turn around. Every time I drive my car into a gas station, the prices aren't coming down. Every now and then I try to make it to work with my gas gauge reading just above E. Maybe I should call my boss and take a day off and go and drink all the beers I can buy. Every now and then I get to wondering how the gas prices have risen so high. Around my car. To fill it up I have to get a loan. Around my car. Why won't the Saudis throw us a bone? Not enough cash in the bank. I am counting change like a chump. What good's a quarter of a tank to bother to go to the pump? If oil companies were in such harms, gas prices would slowly get better. It's the Saudis who are holding the line. Don't you remember what they did to us last time? I don't know what to do. We have to get some balls. We're running out of gas in all the cars. So we have to get gas back. Not getting it from Iraq. What a waste of our time. Once upon a time I could sleep, fill it up. But now I take the bus like a chum. I don't know what to do. A total rip-off at the pump. To rip off at the pump.
I'm dying over here.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks again profusely for those low bargain basement gas prices. We can fill up our tank now once every 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a picture of Michael Jackson with that schmata head over there, Mohammed bin Sulayem, rhymes with Goyim, in United Arab Emirates in Dubai. That's where he finally surfaced now after getting off from that trial, so to speak.
Okay.
He's believed to have traveled from Bahrain to Dubai on August 20th. At any rate, one thing about those ragheads, they never met a slime ball they didn't cozy up to. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yeah.
One good slime ball. It's like water, seeks its own level, likes attract, all of those other cliches. Happens to be.
Absolutely correct, sir.
So there's a picture of your friend Michael Jackson with that raghead. Now, speaking of other people, the Reverend Jesse Jackson offered support for President Hugo Chávez Sunday, saying that a call for his assassination by Pat Robertson was a criminal act and that Washington and Venezuela should work out their differences through diplomacy, not by murder. The U.S. civil rights leader condemned last week's suggestion by Pat Robertson that American agents should kill the leftist Venezuelan leader, calling the conservative commentator's statements immoral and illegal. Jackson urged U.S. authorities to take action and said the U.S. government must choose diplomacy over any threats of sabotage or isolation or assassination. We must choose a civilized policy of rational conversation, he said. He told reporters at a news conference. Now, how do you rhyme that? Rational? Well, I don't know. But here's the part that I was getting to. The FCC must prohibit such threats on the airwaves, said Jackson, who arrived Saturday for this is in Caracas, no less, who arrived in Caracas Saturday for a visit along with members of his Rainbow Push coalition. See, they're pushing it.
All right.
I hope the FCC does not remain silent regarding what Robertson said, Jackson, that they're more concerned about Janet Jackson and Justin Tinkerbell and that booby flap. They're concerned about that. They're concerned about a booby flap and us saying crap. That's what they care about at the FCC. And we got to take the rap, okay?
Okay.
But some guy goes on the air nationwide, worldwide, and is calling for the assassination of some human being. And the FCC, they're too busy, okay? They're too busy. Did somebody say ice hole on the air? Did somebody say this? Did Howard Stern, they do something with boobies? When are you going to grow up already, okay? Speaking of when is America going to grow up, here it just never, ever stops. Now, better you than me, that's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
You want to live in a fascist country? Congratulations to you. Anybody else out there listening to me right now who wants to live in a fascist country, congratulations. You've achieved your lifelong goal. You're in it. Woodstock, New York. Singer Art Garfunkel, did you see this?
No.
Art Garfunkel, who pleaded guilty last year to pot possession in upstate New York, was charged again Sunday after a marijuana cigarette was allegedly found in the ashtray of his car, state police said. How do you like that?
He's in trouble.
There's Rob Marciano on CNN standing there in the middle of Gulf, Mississippi somewhere, in the middle of all those trees and debris and refuse.
It's unbelievable.
Take off your clothes, Rob. The 63-year-old Garfunkel, who lives in Manhattan, was charged after being pulled over for failing to stop his vehicle at a stop sign. The Daily Freeman of Kingston reported today. The Daily Freeman. Or is that Freeman?
I don't know.
Freeman Godsden? Wasn't he one of what was Freeman Godsden and Charles Correll? Were they like Amos and Andy?
I don't know.
Ask Boca Brian, he'll know.
I will.
Upon approaching Garfunkel's car, a trooper noticed a strong odor of marijuana. I can walk outside my door right here and smell on the streets a strong odor of marijuana. Nobody cares.
It's because you're in that degenerate place.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. Anybody that's gone to like 34 racetracks in his life and has got double the number of tracks over a racetrack degenerate like Hank Goldberg, I'm pretty proud of myself. You notice how he didn't want to give the number? You notice that?
No, I didn't.
He was very reluctant giving that number out. No problem, Hank. You're in the still in the big leagues. I'm like in the major league. If you can rival a degenerate like this, 34 racetracks. But Hank's he's okay, 18. He's like in the kind of like the middle leagues, like the American Hockey League. Anyway, upon approaching Garfunkel's car, trooper noticed a strong odor of marijuana. Subsequent search turned up a joint in the ashtray. How do you like that?
Oh my God!
He was issued a ticket as due back in Woodstock Town Court September 22nd. In January 2004, Garfunkel was charged with marijuana possession after state police stopped his limousine for speeding in the Ulster County town of Hurley, which is near Woodstock, some 55 miles southwest of Albany. During that stop, police found a small amount of pot in Garfunkel's jacket. The next month, he pleaded guilty, paid $200 in fines.
Oh, we're fine.
Garfunkel, with Paul Simon, made up the legendary duo. No kidding. Oh, yeah, we know the songs. We know who they are. Who the hell wrote this? Is this from A&P? Yeah, Associated Press. You bozos, you idiots.
You fairy.
Like we're all a bunch of children, just like the way, like the way the media talk to us on television. Mm-hmm. They talk down to the public like we're all a bunch of babbling, idiotic morons. Couldn't they do like split screen? Have half of the broadcast delivered to those people and, and the other part of the screen delivered to the rest of us who've got an IQ larger than our thumbnail. You bozos. 26 past noon at 560 WQAM. We got the Mo Meister coming along at 2 o'clock. Mo Howard David, man. The best haircut you've ever seen.
Rogers. Coming up tonight on Inside the Behind the True Hollywood Celebrity Music Biography Profile Story. Their sound redefined music in the 90s. And their lead singer offed himself. So their place in music history was definitely assured. They were Nirvana.
Yeah, Kurt Cobain sure was a tragic figure.
Former Nirvana bandmate, the Foo Fighters' Dave Grohl.
The drugs and the depression, and towards the end, he needed money real bad.
Tonight, for the first time, you'll see the long-suppressed infomercial made by desperate Kurt Cobain in his final days.
Hey, all you grungy kids! How would you like to have Kurt Cobain's voice on your very own answering machine? Well, now you can! For only $19.95, Kurt will record a custom outgoing message just for you. Just listen.
Hello, this is Kurt Cobain. Roger can't come to the phone right now because he's probably f***ing Courtney Love. Oh, Courtney. Why do I let you rip me apart like this? Courtney!
Or maybe you'd prefer one like this.
Hey, this is Kurt Cobain. Sandy can't take your call at the moment. She's pulling her hair out trying to understand my lyrics. What is your f***ing problem, Sandy?
And there's this.
Hello, Kurt Cobain here. Jim isn't here right now, and he promised he'd bring me my antidepressants. Hurry up, Jim. Please?
Kurt Cobain on your answering machine. Call 1-800-NEVER-MIND. That's 1-800-NEVER-MIND. You'll be glad you did. Or not.
Nirvana. I've heard about rock stars trading crack for illicit sex behind a dumpster, but an infomercial? That's sick. It's a big, juicy, sopping wet look at show business. Tonight, on Inside the Behind.
12:32, 28 to 1 at 560 WQAM. These Dolphins, man, and former Dolphins and current Dolphins and ancient Dolphins, They got some problems. You see about Jarvis Williams?
No.
Not you.
No, I did not.
Orange Park, Florida. That's like Orlando, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Where the hell is Orange Park? Isn't that Clay County? Where the hell is it? Orlando is Orange County. Maybe that's why I'm thinking Orlando is orange. Huh? Maybe it's like Yeller. At any rate, former Dolphins safety Jarvis Williams was in stable condition yesterday after he was shot in the back early Sunday in a nightclub parking lot. Williams, former Dolphins player, spent 88 to 93 with the Dolphins, and finished his NFL career in 94 with the New York Giants, was running to safety when he was hit in the back, said Mary Justino, the Clay County Sheriff's Office spokesman. He was not the intended victim, Justino said. He pretty much just got hit by a stray bullet. Well, that's the Florida effing way, man. There's like bullets flying everywhere. The 40-year-old Williams was taken to Shands, Jacksonville, with a collapsed lung after the bullet went through into his back, through his lung, and lodged in his shoulder, Justino said. James Poitier had been fighting with two other men in the parking lot when he brandished the weapon and shot Williams. After initially fleeing the scene, Poitier turned. I wonder if he's kin to Sidney Poitier. Spelled the same way. He's a frog. Turned himself in later Sunday. He was charged with aggravated assault and was being held at Clay County Jail yesterday. How do you like that? Poor Jarvis Williams. Wrong place, wrong time. Dolphin, it just goes to show you, being a member of the Dolphins, present or past, you could actually wind up as a member of the WQAM sales department.
Troy!
What could be a fate worse than that, right? And pump out some of the worst copy I've ever seen in my life. Boy, between him and Fat Boy and Troy.
That's funny. I just got the new and improved copy from Fat Boy.
Oh, did you really? Hey, nice going, Fat. And not only that, but you're a witness to it. He feeds that to me like while I'm on the air, so I have no chance to proofread it, take a look at it, pee on it, do anything with it. You know what I'm saying? Like start correcting. Like that's my job, to start correcting the crap that he feeds over here. You're an idiot, Fat Boy, and take your boyfriend with you, okay? Now here's the facts from Will, which I knew I'd get around to. It says check out the IMDb description for the 1990 movie The Handmaid's Tale. See that?
Yeah, I saw it.
You did?
Yeah.
No good?
It was okay. It made some really good points, but as a movie, it was a little mild.
Weak.
Yeah.
Says this movie has the West splitting into a religious theocracy. Sounds like the activity in South Carolina, where historically the West Civil War began at Fort Sumter. Nice going, Will. This movie came from a book by Canadian Margaret Atwood, eh? Following a coup, America is a country still at war with itself and ruled by a repressive, Bible-inspired regime. Oh, it sounds like right now. She must have been psychic. Must have been prescient, just like Patty Chayefsky. Will also says Robert Duvall is in it as a commander. Speaking of Don Altobelli, the cannoli guy, in 1990, Duvall should have been working on Godfather 3. He and Sonny allegedly contributed to the new EA Godfather video game, whatever that means. You got it?
I don't have it. I'm aware of it.
Well, if it's a Godfather video, it might be violent. So Josh should go out and get it right away. Those violent video games. Shame on you, Josh Cordes. No wonder you have to keep moving every week.
That's right. They're after me. They found out I got
the
Vice
video
City.
game police are knocking on his door at 3 in the morning every night. Now, speaking of that, this story is just incredible. Talk about stupid people. Savannah, Georgia. Not that there's stupid people in Savannah, you understand, in Georgia.
Right.
I don't care what anybody says. Georgia is the dumbest bunch of mother effers that ever came down the pike, man. Georgia, am I right?
I'm not arguing.
Where they still have segregated senior proms. They're still living in the distant past. Oh, look at that. Nice going, Fat Boy. And he still doesn't do it right. Yeah. Pick it, baby. Pick it. Oh, that's the Beasley's theme song. Let me just write this in here like that. You still can't get it right, Fat Boy. I'll take care. I'll take the bull by the horns. You're an idiot. You're a quisling. I think maybe all the fat has gotten above the neck level. It's gone to his brain, whatever is left. Anyway, Savannah, Georgia. Michael Lyons apparently had a funny practical joke planned for his daughter's birthday. In the end, nobody was laughing, especially Lyons. I wonder how Ed Lyons is doing, and Bob Desbecker from Sattlers from the record store I used to work for in Rochester 100 years ago, huh? Think they're still alive?
Who?
Lyons 45 was arrested at Midtown Records in Rochester. Ever been to Rochester? Don't go.
No.
Since they closed down Don and Bob's, forget about it. Lyons 45 was arrested after he told a 13-year-old girl to hand a note to a bank teller, police said. The note said, "Give me all your money. This is a stick-up," according to a police report. The incident happened Friday when Lyons and a group of girls were celebrating his daughter's birthday. While he was getting money out of an ATM, the girl went into the bank, handed the note to a teller. The teller sounded the bank's alarm, and police and FBI surrounded the building. Instead of robbers, they found Lyons and the girls. Having a lark, man. Lyons was charged with criminal attempt of robbery by intimidation, said Savannah Chattanooga Metropolitan Police spokesman Bucky Burnside, or is that Burnseed? or turnip seed. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater, can't joke about a bomb in your luggage to the airport, and you can't write a note to a cashier that says, "This is a stick-up," he said. That was like a little prank on his daughter's birthday.
Cute.
Yeah.
RR.
Yeah, really cute. 5670560, pound 560 on a Verizon Singular Wireless line. We're looking for a good movie from the last 2 years, and damn, it ain't easy to find one. The best movie of 2004-2005, that's our poll today. 459 votes. Our goal is 460. Can we do it?
We can do it.
Let me refresh it. That's our goal for the whole show. 460. Nice going, folks.
Oh!
Fahrenheit 9/11, 120. They all sucked, 50. Didn't see any, 38. Wedding Crashers, 29. The Incredibles, 29. Kill Bill Volume 2, 23. You told me I wouldn't like that.
No.
Star Wars 322, Ray 20, Spider-Man 218, Batman Begins 16, I won't like that, Passion of the Christ 16, Sin City 15, Cinderella Man 10, The Bourne Supremacy 8 is great. I bet you he surprises a lot of people in those movies, you know what?
Yeah.
Matt Damon, don't you think? Because he's so butch, so macho in those movies.
Manly.
A manly hero who does all these manly things. Ben Affleck says he does a lot of manly things behind closed doors. Hit 7. Now, what's that song by Charlie Rich? Behind Closed Doors. Isn't that the name of the song?
I'll cue it up.
You got it?
I don't know.
See, I'm obsessed now with that Time Life, with those music CDs thing, because they keep showing those over and over. And even the country one, which I hate most country music. Some of it's pretty good, though. There you go. Charlie Rich. You son of a bitch. There's Charlie Rich.
Makes me proud.
Get out of here, Charlie. 7 for it. Nice white hair, though. Don't you like his hairstyle?
Lovely.
51st Date 6. Troy's got 5. War of the Worlds 4. The Broken Flowers 3. Collateral 3. Chocolate Factory's got a pair. Van Helsing 2. Now, I knew his name. See, that's a bad sign for me.
I found it. And,
don't tell me. Give me, what's his first name?
Hang on. Oh, Ed. Hold on, hear it. Edward.
Don't tell me.
Three words. 3-word name.
Van Sloan.
Very good.
Von Sloan.
Yes.
Edward Von Sloan. Well, how can you forget him? He was so damn good. Van Helsing, come here. The Punisher 2, Day After Tomorrow 2, I, Robot 2, The Devil Rejects 1, Robots 1, Mr. and Mrs. Smith has got 1. Is that about Will Smith?
No.
Oh, good. Madagascar 1, Kingdom of Heaven 1, Nobody Knows 1, Constant Gardener, it's out tomorrow, it's already got 1. Downfall 1, Phantom of the Opera 1, Hellboy 1, and none yet. Oh, Hellboy, didn't he used to be the board op before Josh? Stealth none, Unleashed none, Look at Me none, another friend of George, Head On none, and My Summer Love. Out of 464, 464 votes on the poll. Our goal is 465.
This is Neil Rogers. This is 560 QAM.
Box office season is really dead. Tickets aren't being sold. Nobody's going to the movies today. They're watching DVDs at home. The movie moguls don't understand it. Their films used to be as good as gold. Movies suck this season. Popcorn isn't being eaten. Crappy movies shouldn't even be shown. They all suck. I don't like movies. They all suck. I don't like movies. Tom Cruise is nuts. I don't like movies. I hope they close. The theater's down. The Star Machine ain't what it's been. They remake old TV shows. And the actors make me want to hurl. It's a wonder anybody goes. And besides, I can't afford it. The tickets cost as much as gold. And movies suck this season. Popcorn isn't being eaten. What reason is there to go? They all suck. I don't like movies. They all suck. I don't like movies. Tom Cruise is nuts. I don't like movies. I hope they close. The theater's down.
Well, speaking of Tom Cruise and Ben Affleck, now, let me ask you this. I got that? No, I'm confused in that. It's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Well, maybe all three of them.
What about them?
I'm just wondering which one is the top and which one is the bottom.
And who's the middle?
And now that we got all three of them lumped in there, we can have like a nice Hollywood sandwich. U.S. abstinence drive hurts AIDS fight, says UN official in Johannesburg, South Africa. The U.S. government's emphasis on abstinence-only programs to prevent AIDS is hobbling Africa's battle against the pandemic by downplaying the role of condoms. Oh, the Pope, I bet, is PO'd about this. The Nazi Pope, you know? The one with the evil look on his face, the mask of evil. Stephen Lewis, the UN Secretary General's special envoy for HIV/AIDS in Africa, said fundamentalist Christian ideology was driving Washington's AIDS assistance program, known as PEPFAR, with disastrous results, including condom shortages in Uganda. The Bush administration favors prevention programs that focus on abstinence rather than condom use and has more than doubled funding for U.S. abstinence-only programs over the past 5 years. As part of George W. Bush's global AIDS plan, the U.S. government's already budgeted about $8 million this year for abstinence-only projects in Uganda, human rights groups be saying. Activists in both Uganda and the U.S. say the country is now in the grip of condom shortage so severe that men are using plastic garbage bags in an effort to protect themselves. Oh, you can relate to that. Saran wrap? There's no question in my mind. Duff is fond of that, he said.
Yeah.
There is no question in my mind that the condom crisis in Uganda is being driven and exacerbated by PEPFAR and by the extreme policies that the administration in the U.S. is now pursuing and the emphasis on abstinence, Lewis told journalists in a teleconference. That distortion of the preventive apparatus is resulting in great damage and undoubtedly will cause significant numbers of infections which should never have occurred. Many health experts say condoms are the most effective bulwark against AIDS. The official of the U.S. Global AIDS Coordinator, which administers PEPFAR, did not immediately return call seeking comment. I can't imagine why. Uganda had been praised for cutting HIV infections, the rate from about 6% today, from 30% in the early 90s, a rare success story in Africa's battle against the disease. But the president of Uganda, his government has come under criticism for sidelining its condom policy and move that activist tie to pressure from Washington through its PEPFAR program. And, of course, from the Pope and all these other crazy flat earth lunatics, the religionists, the God Squad. Hide under the bed, baby, not because of the hurricane, but because the God Squad is out there and they're taking over the whole freaking world. They're crazier than a bedbug. They're dangerous. You know, we used to read about the Crusades and the Inquisition like it was like ancient history, you know, like it was something out of the past.
Yeah, guess again.
Surprise!
Look out now.
Yeah. My, look out now. What do we got on that poll? I'm trying to stimulate a little bit of a response here today. Get these people 485. We got a shot at 500 today, Josh.
Oh!
Before you move the next time, we might get to 500 votes.
Not likely.
By 1:30. Army contract official. I could take some more calls here, but you know something? I don't feel like it.
Okay.
Because we only got this week and next week for these 2 weeks, you know. And I just feel like I got to do my duty, man.
That's right. To the pile.
Got to do a big pile. Well, I do have a big pile. Look at this. Geeks get cheap fix to Japanese flick. But that's for later on. Army contract official critical of... Now, that's geeks, not gooks. Don't start with that gook stuff, okay?
No way, not me.
Army contract official critical of Halliburton Pact is demoted. You see, this is what's going on in the U.S., eh? Oh, look at that. Gas futures soar.
For home this winter, it could be dramatic. One analyst predicts pump prices will jump more than 10 cents this week alone to a nationwide average of $2.75 a gallon. And don't bet on the normal drop in prices following Labor Day, certain to be delayed this year. How long the higher prices last depend on how seriously pipelines and refineries are damaged.
Yeah, right. Like we're going to get an honest estimate of what we're... This is just the rape of the public, baby. The rape. You're being raped, okay? And you're supposed to smile about it. You're getting a real hose job, man, with that big cube you're sticking in your gas tank. It's a hose job. Oh, that's the Bond bitch from CNBC. She got stolen away. The cat. They hate her like poison.
Here on Wall Street, stocks...
Just ask Ted David about that bitch sometime. He wishes she would croak a wicked death. At any rate, a top Army contracting official who criticized a large non-competitive contract with a Halliburton company for work in Iraq was demoted Saturday for what the Army called poor job performance. The official... Bunantine H. Greenhouse. What kind of a name is that? Has worked, maybe they call him Bunny for short. Her.
I see.
It. Has worked in military procurement for 20 years, and for the past several years she had been the chief overseer of contracts at the Army Corps of Engineers, the agency that has managed much of the reconstruction work in Iraq. The demotion removes her from the elite senior executive service and reassigns her to a lesser job in the Corps Civil Works Division. Ms. Greenhouse's lawyer, Michael Cohn, called the action an obvious reprisal for the strong objections she raised in 2003 to a series of court decisions involving the Halliburton subsidiary Kellogg Brown & Root, which has garnered more than $10 billion work in Iraq. We don't understand why we went into Iraq. Well, there's a good part of the answer right there for you, okay? Oil and, what was I saying in the early days of the Iraq attack? O-I-L and M-O-N-E-Y, okay? Are you following the bouncing balls? That's what it's all about. Dick Cheney led Halliburton, which is based in Texas, as we know. She's being demoted because of her strict adherence to procurement requirements and the Army's preference to sidestep them whenever it suits their needs, Mr. Cohen said. He also said the Army had violated a commitment to delay Ms. Greenhouse's dismissal until the completion of an inquiry by the Pentagon's Inspector General. Carol Sanders, spokeswoman for the Army Corps of Engineers, said Sunday that the personnel action against Ms. Greenhouse had been approved by the Department of the Army. And in a memo dated June 3, 2005, as the motion was being arranged, the commander of the Corps, Lieutenant General Carl A. Strock, no relation to former Dolphins mediocre quarterback Don Strock, said the administrative record clearly demonstrates that Ms. Greenhouse's removal from the SES is based on her performance and not in retaliation for any disclosures of alleged improprieties that she may have made. I shouldn't say mediocre quarterback. Wasn't he quarterbacking like when Greasy got injured in one of those Super Bowl years?
Yeah, he did just fine.
Nice going, Don, boy. Well, he's a good buddy of Amanda, so don't knock Don Strock. He's weak. Known as a stickler for the rules on competition, Ms. Greenhouse initially received stellar performance ratings, Mr. Cohen said, but her reviews became negative at roughly the same time she began objecting to decisions she saw as improperly favoring Kellogg, Brown, and Root. Often she handwrote her concerns on the contract documents, a practice that Corps leaders called unprofessional and confusing. In October 2004, General Strock, citing 2 consecutive performance reviews that called Ms. Greenhouse an uncooperative manager, informed her that she would be demoted. Ms. Greenhouse fought the demotion through official channels and publicly described her clashes with Corps of Engineer leaders over a 5-year, $7 billion oil repair contract awarded to Kellogg, Brown, and Root. She had argued that if urgency required a no-bid contract, its duration should be brief. How do you like that? In other words, she's getting in the way. You're interfering. You messed up all our plans, okay? Just like Tessio said, you messed up all my plans. Well, how's Tessio doing now, huh? Yeah. Bunch of lunatics, maniacs, grave robbers, and the public sits back, bada-beep, bada-boop, bada-bop, and what time is the next, when's the Gotti show on again? Throwing up Gotti. When's the next reality TV show on? Huh? They've got the public so screwed up in the head, man, and you people in the media ought to all be on death row, including those grave robbers at CNBC that helped to steal everybody's life savings. And it's just, see, this is the thing that just amazes me. Americans are so passive now. It's like you can pull any crap over on them that you want. They'll put up with anything. They're even shopping at Walmart. Anyway, am I getting excited?
A little bit.
I'll stop.
Good. No, do it.
No. Hey, it's the dog days, baby. It's the Labor Day weekend coming up. People aren't interested in getting all bent out of shape. They just survived through another nasty hurricane. Another reason to get the hell out of Florida, man. Get out before it's too late. Tempest brews over quotes on Starbucks cups. Did you see this?
No.
Well, you will now. This is from the Seattle Times. Starbucks says it was hoping to inspire old-fashioned coffeehouse conversation when it introduced a campaign this year featuring words of notable Americans on its coffee cups. Sounds reasonable to me.
Mm-hmm.
But at least a few of those words are sparking more discord than discussion. A national Christian women's... There they go again, those damn Jesus Christers again. Jesus Christ! A national Christian women's organization is accusing the Seattle-based coffee maker of promoting a homosexual agenda because of a quote by author Armistead Maupin, whose Tales of the City chronicled San Francisco's homosexual community in the 70s and 80s. Maupin's quote, one of several dozen in the Way I See It promotion, says that his only regret about being gay is that he repressed it for so long. I surrendered my youth to the people I feared when I could have been out there loving someone. Don't make that mistake yourself. Life's too damn short. Concerned Women of America, which promotes itself as the antithesis of the National Organization for Women, in other words, they're the National Organization Against Women, and boasts 8,700 supporters in Washington, says most of those quoted on the coffee cups are liberal. How do you like that? The group believes that corporations have a responsibility to reflect the diversity of their customers by taking a balanced approach, like Fox News, or staying out of the divisive social issues altogether. And while the group is not calling for a boycott, its position nonetheless raises questions about what role, if any, corporations should take on potentially sensitive matters, especially at a time when the nation is divided largely along religious lines on issues such as gay rights. Corporations have deeper pockets and therefore more influence than individuals do, said Maureen Richardson, no relation to Bobby Richardson, former second baseman of the Yankees, State Director of Concerned Women for America of Washington. I think it's wiser for them to stay out of these issues so that they don't offend conservatives and people of faith. Well, you know what? Screw conservatives and people of faith. How do you like that? Screw them. To these companies, she says, if you want my money, support some of my causes. But experts say that on controversial issues, no company can please all of its customers all the time. Corporations, they say, need to pick their battles, staking out positions on issues they believe to be just. Like Ben & Jerry's, for example. They don't pull any punches, right?
Right.
Good liberal boys from Vermont out there fighting for what's just and right. I had to go with that Ben & Jerry's crap again. You had to get me started.
Sorry.
No, I have an addiction to Haagen-Dazs banana nut. I really ought to sue them, man. I ought to sue them for $1 billion. Cannot stop eating that banana nut. And the ice cream, too. God, you haven't had it yet?
No.
Don't.
I won't.
Josh?
No.
Haven't had it. When you put that in the microwave, man, and just get that nice and soft and banana-y and nutty. And then when you're sprinkling that cinnamon on there, keep your blood sugar down as good as possible. Wow. Okay, what do we got on that poll so far? We got our 500 votes or what? We got a shot at 5-something today, 501. We got 497. I bet you by 1 o'clock we can get to 500 votes on the poll. Do you think? I'm going to bet you Josh's life on it right now, okay? If we don't get to 500 by 1 o'clock, bada bing, that's it. Then you won't have to work. You're only going to have one more move to make, okay? And that's for your nice dirt nap. And then but at least one thing when you make that move, when you make that move, it's the last one. Unless, of course, you're Philip Spaulding on Guiding Light.
Or if you get buried in Florida. Remember that story?
No, that was in Georgia.
Was it? I thought we had some incidences here, too.
No, but the main story was the one in Georgia.
Yeah,
he was
right.
like the Undertaker, or whatever the hell you call those guys. He had a massive undertaking. Yeah, he was moving them around and into the ground, and some not.
They were busy bodies.
Body over here, body over there. Best movie of 2004-2005. Do we have our 500 votes? Refresh that thing. We got 2 minutes, man, and Josh's life is hanging in the balance. You people care? 498. They're pouring in one at a time.
This is Neil Rogers. This is 560 QAM.
Buttheads, it's the 1 to 2 hour.
Screw you, Mick Jagger. You had better shut up fast. 'Cause if you don't, I'll have to open a big old can of whoop-ass. Hey, Janie, hand me that whoop-ass can opener.
Mr. Moman, I like it when you do-it. But you is easy. Oh, yeah, the way you do it. Hey, Mr. Moman, will you teach me the do-it too? Oh, no, the do-it. Mr. Moman, I think you're really with it when you do the do-it. And it's not Hey, Mr. Moman, let's try it 1, 2, 3. You mean the do-it. It don't mean a thing when I use my own good eyes, or like with my nose. Hey, Mr. Moman, please teach me how to say it. Hey, Mr. Moman, you gotta teach me how to go. Now you. What's this? Hey, Mr. Moman.
Yeah?
What's that doy mean?
I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't never said do.
Doy
right here.
103 at 560 WQAM, and the Doy Man himself will be along at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Mo Howard David, followed by the Mad Dog at 4, and then Marlins baseball pregame at 6:30. How come we don't have, during the week, we don't have that Marlins, that extra show? But that would be cutting a half hour out of the Mad Dog. We can't afford to do that. Keep in mind, by the way, as far as ratings is concerned, that part of that 3 to 7 is that 6:30, well, I don't want to go into it.
Don't.
All these pregame and pre-pregame. Let me see. Oh, we got Curtis and Troy at Gate G on Saturday. Look at that. Now, what is that for?
It's like before the game. That's
Before the Mets-Marlins game.
Sure.
I see. And then, there it is. After the game on Sunday, we got Marlins Extra with Jesse Agler. That's after the game. Followed by Lenny Martez. And you wonder why we have no numbers? Holy cow, Rat Man. Wow. Woo! Lenny Martez, my ass. Folk O'Brien is going to be very excited. He and I both will be the only ones, old farts like us, old chicken neck. Guess what TV show is coming back? Let me give you a clue. Ralph Edwards. You still don't know, do you?
No.
Oh. But Edward Von Sloan, I knew that.
Yeah.
This Is Your Life, an audience favorite, which ran for nearly a decade in the 50s and 60s on NBC, is making a comeback in a new version on ABC. This Is Your Life. Oh! The original series, created and hosted by Ralph Edwards, was a reality TV pioneer. Each week, oh, that's right, it's a reality show, only in this case it is reality, because it's about real people and their real relatives and people that they never wanted to see again, but are foisted upon them. Each week, a person was surprised with an often emotional recounting of his or her life by Edwards' friends and family. In other words, they would, they would take them somewhere under false pretense, like it was going to be some kind of a dinner they were going, and they'd walk in, they'd be on stage. Surprise, Dinah Shore, this is your life. And of course, Dinah Shore was all PO'd because, and this is a true story, her real name was Fannie Rose Shore.
Okay.
Which nobody knew that because she was, being from the Deep South, she was embarrassed being Jewish.
Okay.
And so when she was on the air and they were bringing out all her Jewish relatives and she was going like that. See the USA, whatever. Remember Dinah Shore? No.
No.
The subject, why not? The subjects varied from celebrities to prominent business figures to regular folks. We are thrilled to introduce This Is Your Life to a whole new generation of ABC viewers. Executive Andrea Wong said in the statement. I hope she's white, but I think she might be Wong. The original series was more than just one of America's best-loved TV shows. It became a cherished part of the American vernacular. Bob Barker, This Is Your Life. Edwards began his show on radio, then moved to NBC in 1952. The reason I mentioned Bob Barker is because Ralph Edwards also started Truth or Consequences was his show. And you know who the host was of Truth or Consequences?
No.
Bob Barker. I just got through telling you, man. Then moved to NBC in 52, remained at the network till 61. Syndicated versions aired briefly in the 70s and 80s. The new show will be produced by Fox Television and Ralph Edwards Production. Edwards, now 92, lives in Los Angeles, won't be involved in the series. Production of the show is yet to begin. Not yet. There's something to look forward to, okay? Some reason for us to live. This Is Your Life. This is your life, Josh Cordes. He moved 82 times in a 6-month period. And by the way, Josh is still alive. We got over to 500 votes with plenty to spare. Boy, they must like you a lot, man.
That's right.
You see them, they were coming in there by the chunks. They were terrified that we might bring Beaner Boy back.
Hola.
So probably most of the votes came from inside the building. George's good, close personal friend, Beaner Boy. You'll find him under an overpass near you. Not any specific one, just around. Here's a fax that says, oh, that's right, it wasn't Don Strock, it was Earl Morrall. Don Strock sucked, like I said. Earl Morrall, what was I thinking about? Earl Morrall, wasn't he the sheriff of Davie or something like that? The mayor of Davie?
I don't know.
Huh? The sheriff of Okefenokee Swamp, whatever he was.
Nottingham.
Sorry to correct you, but the quarterback who stepped in when Bob Greasy went down in the perfect season was Earl Morrall, who later went on became, like it says here, the mayor of Davie. See, I told you, it was not Don Strock. Signed, I got no life.
I have no life.
Thank you very much. You're right. I knew it couldn't possibly be because Don Strock was lame. He was Marino's backup, right?
Well, Marino took over in '83. Strock was like '70s and early '80s.
He wasn't there when Marino was there?
I think maybe for
Danny Boy?
Yeah, and like the very beginning of Dan.
I remember one time I was on WYNZ and I had Don Strock on my show at night and I didn't want him on the show, but he was in the building for something, or maybe in the daytime. And they brought him in. They said, oh, here, Neil, here's Don Strock. Sit down, Don, and have a chat with Neil. I thought, what are you doing here, you bozo, you silly ass...
You fairy.
Jock, you silly, dumb jock. He's all right. He's a good guy. We like Don Strock. He's one of Mad Dog's good close friends, so don't be knocking old Don Strock. Now, how do you say it? Swaziland?
I usually don't.
Or Swaziland. I wonder if that's a country named after John Cameron Swayze, who takes a licking, but his heart keeps on ticking, even though he's been dead for many years. Remember John Cameron Swayze? Of course not. Timex watches. It takes a licking, but keeps on ticking. I'm going to do a show for old farts, okay? Oh, I already am? Just a joke, okay? More than 50,000 bare-breasted virgins vied to become the king of Swaziland's 13th wife on Monday in a ceremony which critics say ill befits a country with the world's highest HIV/AIDS rate. His 13th wife. That might be the unlucky number that does him in, you know what?
Let's hope.
King Mswati III, Sub-Saharan Africa's last absolute monarch, arrived dressed in a leopard skin loincloth to watch the reed dance ceremony, which he has used since 1999, to pluck new brides from the girls dressed in little more than beaded miniskirts. Wielding machetes and singing tributes to the king and queen mother, also known as the Great She-Elephant, the girls danced around the Royal Stadium in hopes of catching the eye of the 37-year-old monarch. I want to live a nice life, have money, be rich, have a BMW and a cell phone, said one dancer, 16-year-old Zadwa Mamba, who wore a traditional brightly colored tasseled scarf. Critics say Mswati, who has courted controversy for his lavish lifestyle while 2/3 of his subjects live in abject poverty, sets a, kind of like the Saudis, it sounds like to me, sets a bad example by encouraging polygamy and teenage sex in a country where 40% of the adults live with HIV. Some say the Reed dance, traditionally meant to celebrate... Is that the Greg Reed dance? Is that the one they're talking about? Oh, yeah, we've heard about that. Traditionally meant to celebrate womanhood and virginity, has become a little more than a showcase for the king's young would-be brides. I heard that Scranton was doing that, the Reed dance, once upon a time. Or is that just a rumor?
Huh?
That's what Troy told me. The Reed dance has been abused for one man's personal satisfaction. Mario Masuku, leader of the banned opposition party, told Reuters, the king has a passion for young women and opulence. But many Swazis, or is that Swazis, I wonder if Patrick Swazi lives there. He ought to be. He makes me sick. Say the young monarch has a right to do as he pleases, defending his pension for young brides as Swazi tradition, arguing that ceremonies like the Reed dance, which this year drew a record 50,000 maidens, cement national identity. And what an identity it is, too. Oh, the king takes a wife whenever he wants, and that's the way it is. This is our culture and will never change, said Sanzili Ndluva, 21, on the answer. They need a vowel movement there in that country. Not too many vowels in the words, a lot of consonants. Many maiden, what's her name, wouldn't have much to do on it in that country. What the hell's her name? Vanna.
Oh.
Oh, you know what I haven't played in a long time?
Vanna Pick Me a Letter?
Oh, my God. That. So it's coming up. See how I inspired myself on that?
That's great.
I never miss Wheel of Fortune, man. What a show. And am I good on those puzzles? If I was as good at Wheel of Fortune at Woodbine as I am on guessing the puzzles on the show, I'd be a billionaire. Many maidens who come from villages across the country dream of joining the king's wives, who each have their own palace and BMW. But others were scared, catching the world eye could curtail their freedom and force them into a polygamous marriage. Marriage is about love, not money, said trainee police officer Patience Damiani, who jazzed up her traditional outfit with fake diamond necklace. This thing of many wives is not good. How does he satisfy them all? Well, let's draw you a picture, sweetheart. Use your imagination. Maybe he likes to go see Alice. Speaking of Alice, hey, Alice.
You fairy.
There's another one of your clients, by the way, Norman, that's got a syndicated show that's on stations all over the place. Alice, marginally no-talent piece of a right-wing turd. I just mentioned that in passing, Norma. I could have been a contender. I could have been something. I could have made an impact. In the meantime, here I am talking on a stupid-ass sports station. Even one of our salespeople passed along the information that this is the only show he listens to on a radio station because sports radio sucks. Remember that?
Yeah, don't say who, though.
I don't want to mention that. Fat Boy said it. But look, if anybody deserves a shot, it's him. You know what I'm saying? Even this copy, even the second, the redone one, points out to me how illiterate, how just idiotic. I guess when you eat 85,000 calories a day, it just rots away whatever was left of your brain. You know what I'm saying?
Hi,
along with all that hanky-panky at Treasure Island. No wonder we had to get them off the air. Well, I think you screwed it all up with all that funny business you were doing with that talent fee.
That they moved.
Time.
All right.
Get me a ticket for an aeroplane. Got to get on the Wheel of Fortune game. I just got to win. Spin the wheel again. Oh, Vanna, pick me a letter. Bankrupt? What do you mean bankrupt? I don't care how much money I got to spend. Can't stand to look at Pat Sajak again. Won't throw in the towel till I buy your vowels. Oh, Vanna, pick me a letter. Hey, man, what do you mean there's no effing phone? Vanna, pick me a letter. No one does it any better. I dream about you. Hey, Vanna, is that an all-over stand or what? Vanna, I don't understand why you make $100 grand. Not for me to say. Anyway, get me a ticket for an aeroplane. Gonna be on the Wheel of Fortune game. I just got to win. Spin the wheel again. Oh, Vanna, pick me a letter. Go, Vanna! Go, baby, go! All right! Hey, get out of my face, Pat. Is that a toupee? Hey, there, now in that word. Is it lowrider? All right, lowrider! Forget the letter, man. I'll take Vanna White. You're beautiful, baby. You and me could play the home game. Got me a ticket for an aeroplane. All right! I'm on the Wheel of Fortune game. I just love that sound. I'm in the bonus round. Hey, Vanna, pick me a letter. Lose a turn. Hey, Pat, lose this. Vanna, pick me a letter. No one does it any better. I dream about you. All right, that isn't all over 10. Vanna, I don't mean to stare, but are you wearing underwear? Not for me to say. Anyway, I don't care how much money I got to spend. Can't stand to look at Pat Sajak again. Won't throw in the towel vowels. Oh, Vanna, pick me a letter. Please, Vanna, pick me a letter. All right, I'm ready to pick, baby. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. That should cover it, huh? All right, I'll take the sofa, the blender, the microwave, the refrigerator. Hey, man, Bob, what do you mean $500 for a black and white 5-inch portable TV set? You got ripped off, man. My brother-in-law can get it for you wholesale. Give me the money and I'll buy the TV set, man, all right? Hey, man, come on, baby.
So many idiots get on that show as contestants who, like, they have, like, almost all the letters are filled in. They obviously know what the answer is. Let me buy a vowel. Let me buy an I. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's staged when they're that dumb.
I mean, why just throw the money away? You already know what it is. There's only like a half a dozen at any rate. 546 votes. If Josh would have really put his nose to the grindstone, in fact, I think we could still do it. We can make 600 during the show. That would be one of the most incredible accomplishments in the history of the broadcasting business. You know what?
And so we will.
We'll make 600. We need 54 in 39 minutes, in about 40 minutes.
We can do it.
Oh, yeah, we can make 600. And now, if I would have told you at the start of the show on a day, like a couple days after this hurricane weekend and Labor Day, pre-Labor Day Tuesday, and all the other stuff, all the other excuses that these slackers have got, that we'd make 600 votes on a marginal poll like this, you'd have said, yeah, your mama, you're dreaming, man. What kind of drugs are you doing beside ice cream? That is my drug of choice. Ice cream. I'm addicted. I make no bones about it. I'm addicted in such a dastardly way. And I'll say it again. Sugar is so far more addictive than heroin, than crack, than anything else.
Now, have you ever tried crack or heroin?
No.
Well, why don't you try them and let us know?
Okay, we'll do like a comparison.
Yeah, taste test.
Okay. I've seen a cracker, too.
That's what I heard.
I lived in Florida, don't forget. I've seen a few crackers myself, yeah. 5:48 in the Sunshine State. We got 52 to go. This is exciting now. See, this adds a little spice to an otherwise kind of like colorless Tuesday. Slightly more than half the country says President Bush should meet with Cindy Sheehan, the mother of soldier killed last year in Iraq, according to a new Washington Post ABC News poll. The survey found that 52% of the public says Bush should talk to Sheehan, who has repeatedly asked for a meeting with the president, while 46% says he should not. 53. Now, see, here's the key number. 53% say they support what she's doing. 42% oppose her actions. Got that?
All right.
Not good numbers for El Presidente or his sycophants, his supporters.
His sycophants?
Like the war and Bush's overall handling of the situation in Iraq, attitude toward Sheehan divided sharply along partisan lines. 7 in 10 Democrats say they support Sheehan's position on Iraq, while an equal proportion of Republicans oppose her. You know, people don't confuse this with the truth, that crowd. I support our president. That broad, man, the one they showed the other day, she's a crazy person. Just a crazy person. Screaming and wailing. In other words, it reminded me of that woman. I'd love to have my son molested by Michael Jackson. That same kind of crap, you know?
I'll be honest.
Yeah. Oh, my God. 554. We need 46 votes on there, and of course the poll. I mean, does it really make a difference what the poll is?
Not at this point.
Does it really make a difference? No.
Yeah, just vote.
It's just a challenge. That's all. Remember the $64,000 challenge with Ralph Story? Of course not.
I remember it.
You do?
I saw that movie.
Oh, that's right. What's the best movie of 2004-2005? Speaking of movies, that was a bad movie, by the way. What was it called? Quiz Show?
Yeah, it was. It was mediocre.
21 with Jack Berry, with Elfriede von Nardroff and Charles Van Doren. What a memory this man has, huh? When I started telling Hank, I thought he was going to fall off the chair, which would have made a big thud in that building. When I started telling him about the race and about who finished where and who's on first, he just couldn't believe how my mind is cluttered with such crap. And then when I said, well, don't forget I work at QAM, and then explained it. The best movie of the last 2 years, Fahrenheit 9/11/142, hands down your pants. Watched it 3 or 4 times, and we'll watch it again and just want to cry and scream. They all sucked, 63. Oh, look at this. Speaking of crying and screaming, look at the roof of the Superdome.
What about it?
I knew that big chunks of it got peeled off, but the whole thing is gone. Not to mention the holes in it and all the rain that went pouring through.
It's a bald
dome.
dome.
Did you see that?
Uh-huh.
Conditions worsening inside the Superdome, and the water level in New Orleans is rising every hour.
Broken arms, and worse than that,
Dozens of people sleeping on the walkway outside the dome.
Who saw a man jump to his death. They say he appeared to be acting normally. He was playing a game of dominoes on the second level, in the second level bleachers in the stadium, inside the dome. When he calmly got up, he asked 2 people on the floor below to watch out, and then he jumped to his death. Kira?
Oh, my. How do you like that?
So,
did you hear what she said? She said,
oh, my God.
142 Fahrenheit 9/11. They all sucked. 64. Didn't see any 45. Get out of the house. Come on. When the weather's better. Wedding Crashers 41. The Incredibles 34. Kill Bill Volume 2 26. Ray 25. The Ray Charles Story. Star Wars 3 23. Passion of the Christ 21. Batman Begins 20. Spider-Man 2 20. Sin City 16. Cinderella Man 14. The Bourne Supremacy with Macho Matt Damon 9. Hitch 8. 51st Date 7. Troy 7. War of the Worlds 6. Broken Flowers 5, Madagascar 3, Constant Gardener's got 3. It must already be out somewhere, wouldn't you think?
Maybe those people are all psychic.
Maybe they just know it's good. I can think of things like that, things you've never seen or had, but you know that they must be good.
Like what?
Day After Tomorrow 3. In fact, Rob Marciano, the weather guy on CNN, you know, they're in the middle of this human crisis, this catastrophe, and they got him on there like, you know, with his shirt, with the first button open down to like almost his pupik, you know?
Yeah.
Pants are next, Rob. Van Helsing 2, The Punisher 2, I, Robot 2, The Devil Rejects 1, Robots 1, Mr. and Mrs. Smith 1, Kingdom of Heaven 1, Nobody Knows 1, Downfall 1, Phantom of the Opera 1, Hellboy 1. So far, out of 565 votes, we got a real shot here, folks. Stealth, Unleashed, Look at Me, Head On, and My Summer of Love have all got the big so far. And you know the big, he's
rock solid.
How's he doing, by the way? Don't ever hear too much about him.
He's fine.
Is he fine?
That's what I heard.
You ought to have like a 75 share in there, like from 5 to 7 in the morning with no competition. Let me just mention it again. We don't discuss the trends anymore. We'll wait till the full rating book comes out in a couple of months. But we sucked pretty bad, and IOD got a whole bunch of bogus stuff, and especially the no speaking English because it was heavy Julios in Hulai. But let me tell you, the other sports folks over there, I'm going to tell you, Barry Jackass and Jim Sarney, you may have your heads inserted deep inside their
rectum
over there at 790. You couldn't measure their audience with a microscope. With a magnifying glass, with a Mount Palomar telescope, you couldn't find their crowd. And I use the word crowd loosely, okay? Loosely, like Sammy Smith. 27 after 1. I'm a little bit too agitated. Don't let me forget about 140 to put my bratwurst on the flavor wave.
I'll set my alarm.
Actually, about 145. No, in that break, the 140 break, because I put it on there for like 16 minutes, and then it'll keep it warm. Actually, what it says there is end, when a little beep goes off at the end, and then it says in little tiny letters warm. In other words, the element is still on there. It's still like keeping the stuff warm. It's a beautiful thing. When was the last time you really indulged yourself? Weeks ago, months ago, even longer? Dollar Mattress and Serta wants you to indulge yourself every night with Serta's Perfect Night Mattress line. Right now, when you call 1-800-MATTRESS, you can save up to $900 off the Dollar Mattress factory direct prices. The Perfect Night features Serta's highest quill counts, finest quilting, and memory foam for the ultimate in comfort. This Serta sale is for a limited time. You're going to save on all sizes and comfort levels while supplies last. Call 1-800-MATTRESS. Get delivery within an 82-hour window that you pick. Delivery that nobody else in the world would dream of offering you. Chances are they've got the mattress you want in the size and comfort level you're looking for, ready for same-day delivery. And now, after Katrina, man, if there are people out there that had damage to their mattress, here's the perfect way to replace it real fast. Dollar Mattress is ranked #1 in customer satisfaction. I've used them for years, as has George and Mo and Miguel and even the illiterate fat boy, just a few of the QM folks who are satisfied customers. You will be too. Don't put it off another minute. Call 1-800-MATTRESS right now or log on to their website, mattress.com. Call today. Be sleeping like a baby as soon as tonight. If the old mattress floated away or got destroyed by the hurricane, here's a way to replace it, like I said, just about immediately, if not sooner. Call 1-800-MATTRES, 1-800-MATTRESS. Leave off the last S for stupendous savings.
This is Neil Rogers. This is 560 QAM.
Suck it in and hold it.
Bill Clinton never sang to the grand jury, but he's singing now on the hot new CD, Bill Clinton Croons His Favorite Tunes, featuring the former president's versions of classic hits like this one from Pink Floyd. Come in here, dear girl, have a cigar, you're gonna go far. All the way, I hope. Bill Clinton Croons His Favorite Tunes also includes this great Beatles song, Monica Lewinsky. She's overweight, but she knows how to act on a date. Yeah, she was great. And this Good Time Party track from Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels. She's the intern with the blue dress, intern with the blue dress on. Wow! At least until I found the zipper. If you fondly recall when the Oval Office was rocking and nobody bothered knocking, then get your copy of Bill Clinton Croons His Favorite Tunes today.
Nancy said bad thing about the Gipper is he couldn't find the zipper. It's 1:34. Maybe that was a good thing. And, of course, his son, you know, the ballet dancer.
You fairy.
582, we need only 18 votes in 26 minutes. That should be like a cakewalk, like a walk in the park, don't you think? Kind of like our invasion of Iraq. You know, they'll be waiting with the flowers and candy at 2 o'clock.
Mission accomplished.
That's right. Mo will be waiting with flowers and candy for us at 2 o'clock. Don't eat them, though. You never know with Mo. Iraqi constitution dangerously short of U.S. goals, say the experts. That must be propaganda, don't you think?
I'm sure.
Iraq's new draft constitution falls dangerously short of initial U.S. goals and will likely fuel an increase in violence in the war-battered country, American analysts are saying. It's not a good path we're on right now, said Flint Leverett of the Brookings Institution think tank. You have a situation now in which one or two things will happen, and both of them are bad. He said either the minority Sunni Arabs will succeed in mustering a two-thirds majority in 3 of the country's 18 provinces to sink the charter, or will fail and end up feeling disenfranchised and disgruntled. Either scenario will produce a political crisis, he said. What we have now is a situation in which is the beginning of a countdown to something that will look like civil war in Iraq. How do you like that? Because everything is going so well, and those 3 generals that they had on Eat the Press on Sunday, they should only rot in hell along with that fat-faced Tim Russert from Buffalo, that pasty-faced turd. I mean, you talk about propaganda. I'm begging you, not that it makes any difference whether you read it or not, because, I read it. That story on there about the media, which a bunch of people have read it. That's comforting to see. What's the name of that story, Josh?
Like I remember?
Well, you're not on top of these things? I'll tell you right now.
Put up like 30 of those things.
It's called Cable News, Hucksters and Harlots.
There it is. Ed Naha.
By Ed Naha. And if you don't read it, you're missing out. I mean, it's stating things that a lot of people know, but a lot of you aren't aware of already. You're not getting news. You're getting propaganda, okay? These people are a bunch of shills. They're paid off. They're being spoon-fed, okay? They're sucking presidential ass. Don't you get it? That's what it's all about. Right-wing, fascist, presidential ass. In fact, if they had some kind of a test, remember that song, that cowboy song Larry Lujack was singing? If they had, if they could find fingerprints, whose would I find on you? Mm-hmm. If they could find tongue marks, whose would they find on George Bush's ass, okay?
That's a long list.
Yeah, you better believe it, and most of them in the media. I wonder who they'd find on Condoleezza's...
Rectum.
Huh? Oh, they showed her the other day. It was an old clip from a meeting in the White House. She was wearing pants. Yeah. I'm not talking about like a pantsuit like women. I'm talking about like real pants.
Yeah, what's your point?
I wonder if she's got a... Anyway, Ross Gelbspan in the Boston Globe writes Katrina's real name. Let me say it again. 2 words you ought to be thinking about right now as you look at the devastation over there in New Orleans and Louisiana and even outside your own window in some of your cases. Global freaking warming. 2 words. Ross Gelbspan writes, the hurricane that struck Louisiana yesterday was nicknamed Katrina by the National Weather Service. Its real name is global warming. When the year began with a 2-foot snowfall in Los Angeles, the cause was global warming. When 124-mile-an-hour wind shut down nuclear plants in Scandinavia and cut the power to hundreds of thousands of people in Ireland and the UK, the driver was global warming. When a severe drought in the Midwest dropped water levels in the Missouri River to their lowest on record earlier this summer, the reason was global warming. In July, when the worst drought on record triggered wildfires in Spain and Portugal and left water levels in France at their lowest level in 30 years,
about 30, man.
The explanation was global warming. When a lethal heat wave in Arizona kept temperatures above 110 degrees and killed more than 20 people in 1 week, the culprit was global warming. And when the Indian city of Bombay received 37 inches of rain in 1 day, killing 1,000 people and disrupting the lives of 20 million others, the villain was global warming. As the atmosphere warms, it generates longer droughts, more intense downpours, more frequent heat waves, and more severe storms. Although Katrina began as a relatively small hurricane that glanced off South Florida, it was supercharged with extraordinary intensity by the relatively blistering sea surface temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico. The consequences are as heartbreaking as they are terrifying. Unfortunately, very few people in America know the real name of Hurricane Katrina because the coal and oil industries have spent millions of dollars to keep the public in doubt about the issue. The reason is simple. To allow the climate to stabilize requires humanity to cut its use of coal and oil by 70%, which of course threatens the survival of one of the largest commercial enterprises in history. In 1995, public utility hearings in Minnesota found that the coal industry had paid more than $1 million to 4 scientists who were public dissenters on global warming, and ExxonMobil has spent more than $13 million since 1998 on an anti-global warming public relations and lobbying campaign. In 2000, Big Oil and Big Coal scored their biggest electoral victory yet when Bush was elected president and subsequently took suggestions from the industry for his climate and energy policies. As the pace of climate change accelerates, many researchers fear that we've already entered a period of irreversible runaway climate change. Against this background, the ignorance of the American public about global warming stands out as an indictment of the U.S. media. When the U.S. press is bothered to cover the subject of global warming, it's focused almost exclusively on its political and diplomatic aspects and not on what the warming is doing to our agriculture, water supplies, plant and animal life, public health, and weather. For years, the fossil fuel industry has lobbied the media to accord the same weight to a handful of global warming skeptics that it accords the findings of one of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, more than 2,000 scientists from 100 countries reporting to the UN. Today, with the science having become even more robust and the impacts as visible as the megastorm that covered much of the Gulf of Mexico, the press bears a share of the guilt for our self-induced destruction with the oil and coal industries. As a Bostonian, I'm afraid that the coming winter will, like last winter, be unusually short and devastatingly severe. At the beginning of 2005, a deadly ice storm knocked out power to thousands of people in New England and dropped a record-setting 42.2 inches of snow on Boston. The conventional name of the month was January. Its real name is global warming. And the public is like that. That's right. We support our president, okay? We don't care how much he's screwing up the planet. We don't give a crap. And that's because people are stupid. That's basically what it boils down to. Most people are really incredibly stupid, selfish, ignorant. 141 at 560 WQAM. When you're shopping for shoes, don't be stupid. Comfort and fit and price are what it's all about. So do the smart thing and get over to Brandy's Shoes for the most comfortable fit in your favorite style of shoes. At Brandy's, you'll find a humongous, unmatchable selection of just about every major brand, like Rockport, Florsheim, Echo, Mephisto, SAS, New Balance, and lots more. And Brandy's professional shoe fitters will make sure you got a customized fit of your favorite comfort shoe. Just ask for Arnie. He'll make sure you get a perfect fit each and every time. Brandy's understand fit and comfort, and they specialize in wide widths as well. Brandy's is worth the trip, like I always tell you, from just about anywhere in town for comfort, style, fit, value, and selection. Do your shoe shopping at Brandy's Shoes, 1290 North Federal Highway in Pompano Beach. Open daily till 9, Monday through Saturday, and Sundays till 5. And right now, going on as I speak, is Brandy's Red Tag Sale. Buy one red tag item, get a second red tag item of equal or lesser value at half price. So be sure to get your ass into the store this week or do your shoe shopping online at brandyshoes.com.
This is Neil Rogers. This is 560 QAM.
Neil got out WQAM, where the faggot is.
Oh! You fairy. Peter Jennings, what a life.
Oh, I mean, tremendous. Let's go to calls. Drusilla, Georgia. Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
First of all, Larry, I want to thank you for channeling Mr. Jennings from Beyond the Grave for us.
Okay.
Peter, how are things in hell?
Well, it's hard. I never thought it was going to be anything but hard.
So I guess now you're really a smoker, huh?
Oh, yes. I think it goes with the territory.
Goes with the territory.
Ocala, Florida, for Peter Jennings. Hello.
Hey, Peter, do you know any dead celebrity jokes?
No, ma'am, and if I did, I wouldn't say so.
Baldwin City, Kansas. Hello.
Yeah, Peter, are the rumors true? Is hell really a couple degrees cooler than the center of a McDonald's apple pie?
I think the answer is yes. But you've asked a question that a lot of people in the country are going to ask today.
Somerset, Kentucky, for Peter Jennings. Hello.
Hi, gentlemen.
Hi.
Hello, ma'am.
Mr. Jennings, is there Celine Dion music in hell?
Yes. And it just happens. It goes on and on and on for hour and hour and hour after end.
Oh, my. I think that would make my ears bleed.
Oh, many do indeed.
One more call. We have a minute left. Downers Grove, Illinois. Hello.
Mr. Jennings, what would you like for Christmas?
Saddam Hussein.
Oh, so Saddam's on your wish list.
Yes, as is George Bush. George Bush is also...
Peter Jennings.
Yeah.
Thank you as always, Peter.
Thanks, it's really nice to see you.
I got news for you. If there's a place called hell, George W. Bush will be the first one online. He'll be there rotting soon. 600 votes. We got our 600.
Oh!
Here's a fax that says your poll wouldn't be complete without Team America World Police. You got that one on there, Josh?
We put it on there now.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. It's going on there. We got our 600. I can't believe it. This is one, let me say it again. This ought to be in the Guinness Book of Records. And as opposed, like radio and records and FMQB, they were obsessed with the P.D. Bolger talking about the IOD coverage of the storm, all this other bull crap, okay? Here's one of the great accomplishments in the history of the radio broadcasting business, and they ignore this show completely and totally, okay? You should only croak also at R&R and FMQB, whatever you are. You quizzlings, you...
You fail.
Yeah. Man, well, I tell you, this show is the greatest phenomenon in the history of the human race that is unknown. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We are just like anonymous here. Tragic, just pathetic, Norma. You quisling, you idiot, you fail. Oh, yeah, that one fit. Shanghai, wait till you hear this. You know what they're concerned about in China?
I give up.
Naked internet chatting.
Really?
A Chinese researcher is warned of a new threat to public health and morality, naked internet chatting. Up to 20,000 Chinese internet users log on to chat rooms each night in which users use various states of undress to talk to each other with the help of webcams, the Shanghai Daily newspaper said today, citing China Youth Association researcher Liu Gang. At first, we thought it was merely a game for a few mentally abnormal people, the paper quoted Liu was saying. But as our research continued, we found the problem was much larger than expected, Liu said. I wonder if he's kin to Liu Gordon. Participants in the sites download chat software and attach video cameras to their computers, the paper reported. They then talk with others while exposing themselves and performing provocative poses, it said. How do you like that?
Rectum.
Those crazy Chinese. China's got more than 87 million internet users, the second largest after the USA. Communist authorities have struggled to limit free discussion and other online content considered subversive while encouraging the net's commercial applications. They don't want to let them see anything that might be a little, propaganda.
That might be wrong.
Confuse them with the facts. Here's a good piece of news. Fox sued by sweatshop TV writers. All right. By Richard Luscombe in Miami, no less, in The Guardian. The glamorous image of a Hollywood scriptwriter's lifestyle as an endless round of leisurely lunches and celebrity parties has been exposed as a lie by a class-action lawsuit filed against one of America's biggest TV networks. Fox TV is accused of overseeing and airing shows that were produced by writers who endured intolerable working conditions, being forced to skip meals, submit fake time cards, and work more than 80 hours a week in cramped and overheated orifices. The condition in this industry resembles sweatshops, said a suit on behalf of writers of 7 so-called reality TV series. Daniel Petrie. Oh, he makes a hell of a dish.
Mm-hmm.
And I did put my bratwurst on without you reminding me, by the way.
What
a memory, this man.
And you were in the break.
And I went and done it. Daniel, you did it on the thing?
My watch.
What is this man talking about?
I put my watch alarm on, and it went off.
Daniel Petrie, Western Area President of the Writers Guild of America, which is backing the action launched by 10 writers and editors on such shows as Trading Spouses, Joe Millionaire, and Married by America, said working conditions had pushed some writers to the brink. Maybe that guy that jumped in the Superdome, maybe he was one of the writers.
Could be.
We've heard stories of people breaking down from the strain of men and women working from 9 in the morning till after midnight with no meal breaks, of location shoots where 8 people were required to work in hot trailers meant for 4, he said. Fox TV and Rocket Science Laboratories, the company had contracted to hire the writers, have refused to comment on the lawsuit, which was lodged within the Superior Court in L.A. and seeks unpaid wages, compensation, and punitive damages. Sue their ass. Last month, 12 writers backed by the union launched an action making similar allegations against other TV companies, including ABC, CBS, and Turner Broadcasting. It marks an escalation of the Writers Guild campaign for the adoption of an industry-wide contract guaranteeing minimum rates of pay and better conditions for writers on reality TV shows, which it says are among the fastest-growing areas of the Hollywood economy. It's time for Fox and other major broadcasting companies to step out in the light of day and end these injustices, they be saying. Zachary Eisenberg, 32, one of the plaintiffs in the Fox lawsuit, claims he was ordered to fill a timesheet for 3 weeks' work on his first day as a story assistant for the show Renovate My Family in the summer of 2004. Because he was keen to get it on TV, he complied. Soon he said he felt dazed because of the unbearable demands of work. I spent almost my entire waking time at work, he said. I enjoy my job, I want to keep doing it, but I also know there comes a certain point where you have to stand up for yourself. You go, Izzy, or whatever, Yitzhak, whatever your name is. Kick their ass. Bastards at Fox News. They should only, in fact, they're going to be right behind Bush there in the line at hell with the people from Walmart. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah.
I knew you would. 151 at 560. I can smell that bratwurst cooking, man. It's just enough to make your hair stand on end. And speaking of your hair.
Absolutely.
560 WQAM. 1, 2, 3, books, 4, 5.
If you are buying gasoline,
I'm dying over here.
You better have a wad of green.
Yes.
'Cause I'm the gas man. Yeah, I'm the gas man.
you, when you grow up, what would you rather be, the gas man or the ass man? It's 1:57, 6, whatever the hell it is. We got Mo standing by at 2 o'clock, the Mo Meister, who will regale you with BS, and then, of course, Mad Dog at 4. This story, and why the hell haven't I gotten to this sooner? I guess because I haven't been on, right?
Yes.
Paper jam. That's okay. Forget about it.
All right.
Humans are the ones on display at London Zoo. Did you see this?
No.
You didn't see this?
No.
At London Zoo, you can talk to the animals, and now some of them talk back. Caged and barely clothed with a rocky enclosure, 8 British men and women monkeyed around Friday for an bemused crowd behind a sign warning humans in their natural environment. And, of course, most of the Brits that I've seen, especially in Amsterdam, belong in a zoo. The captives in the human zoo exhibit stunned themselves on a rock ledge, clad in bathing suits and pinned on fig leaves. Some played with hula hoops, some waved. A signboard informed visitors about the species' diet, habitat, worldwide distribution, and threats. Visitors stopped to a point and laugh, and several children could be heard asking, "Why are there people in there?" London Zoo spokeswoman Polly Wills said that's exactly the question the zoo wants to answer. Seeing people in a different environment among other animals teaches members of the public that the human is just another primate, Wills said. It also, she conceded, lets them gawk at people. The exhibit, which opened Friday, puts 3 male and 5 female Homo sapiens side by side with their primate relatives, though separated from them by an electric fence. While their neighbors might enjoy bananas and a good scratch, these 8, chosen from 30 applicants who entered an online contest, have diverse interests, from a chemist hoping to raise awareness about apes to a self-described actor, model, and fitness enthusiast. And I'm sure they might also enjoy bananas and a good scratch. Wouldn't you think?
I'm sure. Who doesn't?
Chemist Tom Mahoney, 26, decided to participate after his friends sent him an email about the contest as a joke. Anything that draws attention to apes, he said, has his support. I think a lot of people think humans are above other animals, he said. When they see humans as animals here, it kind of reminds us that we're not that special. But then again, we have a soul. We're like God created us. The animals are just for our amusement and abusement, right?
That's right.
And to chop up and eat. And if those Chinese over there would stop chopping up and eating so many of those dangerous animals, we wouldn't have SARS and this other avian flu that nobody seems to want to talk about. But here I'm reading an article every day about how everybody's going to die. Have you read about that?
Yeah. Nobody
wants to talk about that, though, because it's kind of scary. I just wouldn't be eating like a lot of poultry these days. 619 votes on the poll tree. What's the best movie of 2004-2005? We did it. We got over 600 votes, and people are going to be writing about, on this day of all days, you know what? Manishtana Halila Hafeh. Fahrenheit 9/11. Oh, there's a new, what's that body wash that I'm so crazy at? St. Ives.
Okay.
It's called, what the hell is it called? Oh, well, I don't know. But, boy, it's good. I'll tell you Thursday.
All right.
Fahrenheit 9/11, 156. They all sucked, 68. Didn't see any, 48. Wedding Crashers, 45. The Incredibles, 38. Ray, 29. Kill Bill Volume 2, 27. Star Wars 3, 26. Batman Begins, 23. Batman Begins, where Robin's tights end. Passion of the Christ, 22. Spider-Man 2, 22. Sin City, 19. Cinderella Man, 14. Born Supremacy, 9. Hitch, 8. 51st Dates, 7. Troy, 7. You got 7, Troy. War of the Worlds, 6. Broken Flowers, 5. Day After Tomorrow's got 4. I, Robot, 4. Collateral, 4. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, 3. Madagascar, 3. Constant Gardener, 3. It's not even out yet. Phantom of the Opera, 3. Team America World Police, 2. Chocolate Factory's got a pair. Kingdom of Heaven, 2. And a bunch of other stuff that, believe me, you don't want to see.
Bye, bye, bye.